And welcome into cancelthisshow.com. Happy Tuesday, March 21st, the first full day of spring, This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Tabitha Hassel, Scotty Gherkin, engineer producer on the boards, and Eric Johnson coming in. Lizzie Sparks all over the chat line and your message and your comments as well, as we always like you guys to jump in and do what you do. Okay, we got a packed show again today. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk with the Missouri Times. Scott Vaughn knows more about state politics than anybody I've ever met, especially in the state of Missouri. This story has national implications, but it's going on in Missouri. What's happening with trans rules, trans laws, trans legislation when it comes to stopping kids from getting health care to change their sex? Kids under the age of 18, all the way down as young as 12. It's very complicated because it's gone on with the whole situation with Washington University, actively trying to help kids do this. Anyway, that's a story that's coming up today. We got Russia, China to talk about. We've got all kinds of stuff. Trump, DeSantis, Trump coming out. Will he be arrested? Will he not be arrested? All of that. Lots of things coming out today. Also, President Biden issuing his first veto as a president. That as well. We've got all kinds of things coming up. And also, as we set the stage for what's coming up today on the show, we've also got a sad story. A missing woman in the St. Charles area is still missing. Tabitha will get into that a little bit more. Plus, we always want to remind everybody, as we take you to our sponsors in just a moment, go to Complete Auto Body and Repair. Complete Auto Body and Repair. We thank them. They are a show sponsor here. They have 6 locations, brand new locations in St. Peter's and in the Cottleville area. And it's the only auto body shop. They're looking for technicians of all kinds. If you're a technician or know somebody, the only climate-controlled auto body shop in the St. Louis area at all of their places. Heat and cool when you need it. Complete Auto Body Repair. You can go to the website, CompleteAB.com. Let them know you heard about the ad on CancelThisShow.com. All right, Scott Vaughn coming up in about 4 minutes. We set the show. We get ready for what's happening today. Let Lizzie know in the chat line what you want to talk about. If there's something we're missing, pump it on in there. Also, Trump going after DeSantis. After DeSantis goes after the attorney who was the DA who's going after Trump. You can't make this stuff up. We'll get into it all in just a moment. But first, check out all of our partners for CancelThisShow.com.
Have you ever heard of a use tax? Well, it's just another name for sales tax that may be paid on a purchase from Amazon or any out-of-state seller. Until recently, out-of-state sellers didn't have to collect the same tax as our local stores. But recently, the Missouri legislature voted to give our state its portion. Now Chesterfield voters must approve the law to get our city portion. Vote yes on Prop U to support our local stores and help our city pay for police, parks, and streets. Paid for by Citizens for Chesterfield's Future, Gerald Wright, Treasurer.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
White Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car, hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com.
Marco, wait, What, no response? Hi, I'm Curtis Barks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Attention all foodies in the St. Louis area. Are you tired of bland, boring food that lacks flavor? Look no further than Pixie Dust Seasoning. That's P-I-X-Y. Pixie Dust Seasoning is a healthy, low-sodium brand with sugar-free options. We've sprinkled a little magic into every bottle so you can enjoy delicious, flavorful meals without the guilt. Pixie Dust Seasoning can be found in all Fresh Time locations and select Schnuck stores in the St. Louis market. If you can't make it to the store, don't worry. You can find us online at www.pixiedustseasoning.com. So what are you waiting for? Add a little magic to your meals with Pixie Dust Seasoning. Our tagline says it all. Sprinkle a little magic. Try it today.
And when you visit the site, be sure to use the code name Vic so they know you came from CancelThisShow.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
And welcome back into Cancel This, CancelThisShow.com. Happy Tuesday, everybody. March 21st. Lots to get to on this podcast. Of course, you can always check us live at CancelThisShow.com. All of the original content there. You know how to watch us live, all the platforms. Of course, when we finish the show, it all gets saved. You can watch that show. You can listen to it like the original podcast are. Tab of the Hassle here. I'm Vic Faust, Scotty Gherkin on the boards, Eric Johnson on his way into the studio. We're going to get into all of the Trump stuff. Is he going to be arrested? Is he not? Why is he continuing to be an absolute jerk to Ron DeSantis? And keep it on, I like Trump, but he keeps calling him out.
I'm assuming he has his reasons.
Something's coming. DeSantis didn't go after Trump, but kind of defended him somewhat, going after the DA, Bragg, who's going after Trump. Soros-backed. Anyway, we're going to get into all of that coming up. At first, we check in with our good friend Scott Fawn of the Missouri Times. As I say, nobody knows more about state politics than Scott Fawn, especially in the state of Missouri. Scott, are you out hunting today? I see in your camouflage.
Oh, boy, I tell you what, I had to earn knowing more than anybody else in the state of Missouri about state politics last night.
What happened last night?
I took Gussie over the WWF event there at Enterprise Center. Had a great time. He was tickled to death. Dusty Roll Thumb, the son of a plumber, he was there in attendance. We had a good time. Then I drove back, and the Senate was still going. It went till about 6 a.m. this morning, and then it was so funny. You heard all this background noise, all these allegations, all this that weeping and gnashing of teeth, as you'd say. End of the day, the Senate worked. They passed a bill to ban transgender athletes in girls' sports. They also passed a bill that basically ends for 4 years. It ends really the transgender center at WashU. You can no longer do surgeries on little kids. You can no longer do puberty blockers without, in just rare circumstances. Senator Mike Moon and Senator Holly Rader, it took a long time, but the Senate worked. From all the yelling outside and all the background noise, Senator O'Laughlin and Senator Rowden, they saw it through. They protected the state Senate. They did not have a PQ, which is just a failure of the Senate. They passed this bill at the traditional means. It just took a while. It's what the process looks like when it works.
Scott Fawn from the Missouri Times, I appreciate it. I didn't even have to set the stage. You just did it. It was a big topic. Obviously, people can go after people. I know that former Senator Onder was going after Caleb Brown for saying he's not going to be able to get this passed. He's accepting money from PACs that are associated with WashU. But like you said, at the end of the day, this gets passed. So the specifics are kids in the state of Missouri for at least 4 years right now, and you can explain the 4-year deal, don't have health care that's backed in the state of Missouri for transgender surgeries. What about blockers?
Well, blockers, it's pretty much all in there. I think there is a way to get blockers, but it is a extremely arduous process. For 4 years, I think part of it was, this is really new stuff. There's a lot of new technologies to this. And so while they banned everything they know of today, I think there was part of it was on one end, society could change, the state could change, their opinions could change. They wanted a chance to revisit it in case that is the case. And also, technology is almost certainly going to change. So they wanted to come back and revisit it in 4 years from now when there's almost for sure going to be a lot of new technologies associated with this transgender, with transgender young people and how they would transition. And we'll know more about kind of the ins and outs of why they transition and is it a good thing. I think right now the sense of the state legislature is it's not a good thing. And I think that was reflected in the 24-7 vote to bring up the substitute and to perfect it. There'll be a third read vote probably later this week. I assume it'll be 24-10 Republicans versus Democrats. But the protecting the girls' sports, that was something that was always talked about. Ran on it was a very very hot topic during the campaigns. That was going to pass always. I don't think any of this other stuff was actually going to pass until the allegations about Washington University came out in their transgender center. When those allegations surfaced, that whistleblower came forward, all of a sudden this bill went from, it's probably going to have a few hours of debate to, oh my gosh, something's going to happen on this.
And you're speaking of the allegations in which Washington University, their transgender center was lying to parents and going around parents. Are those the allegations you're speaking of?
Well, that's what the whistleblower alleges. There's also the allegation that while there is a framework, that there are some medically accepted, peer-reviewed frameworks for how to put a child on some of these things. They said there was allegations they weren't even going by that. It was just any kid that came in the door was pretty much getting puberty blockers, and almost instead of a counseling sort of calling balls and strikes, is this right for you? It was almost they just assumed that every kid would need these treatments.
It's very interesting, Scott, because you always seem to come strong. You step to the plate, you're the cleanup hitter, you're Nolan Arenado, and of course you just hit a home run again. It comes out this morning. We get you quick, and you let us know what's actually happening. Sometimes I get frustrated when it comes to politics because so many things get thrown out there, thrown against the wall, people's names thrown into situations that just aren't true because we get passionate about policy. We get passionate about politics. But at the end of the day, I believe now Missouri, then I believe they become the 20th state in the country. I could be wrong. I thought Wyoming was 19th yesterday in banning boys or /men from girls or women's sports. I know you said that was always going to pass, but it's another major deal. I mean, I think this pretty much shows where Missouri is falling national. I'm curious for your opinions. Is there any doubt that Missouri is a hardcore red state right now?
It is socially. I think pretty much any state even if you're just a little bit one party or the other, you're hardcore anymore. There's really no more soft core. In Missouri, you do have a Democrat Party that doesn't really compete here anymore, which has meant that you don't have to win a primary. So the way to win a primary is to go as far to one side as you can. But I'll tell you, there was a lot of allegations made the last 48 hours, the last 2 weeks really, about Senator Caleb Brown. Yes, they did take a lot of money from WashU and WashU backers. I mean, WashU supporters. It was pretty much the PAC was put together by WashU alums with WashU's interest in mind. They also passed this bill, and with all the allegations and stuff, Caleb Brown put his head down. He let all the folks that weren't in the Senate lob their grenades. And I tell you, I have a high regard for Senator Onder, but really, I don't know if he owes him an apology. I'm not really an apology guy, but I think that Caleb Brown deserves some kudos today from Senator Onder, and I hope Senator Onder is the kind of man that will say, hey, you know what? I was worried he wouldn't pass it, but at the end of the day, Caleb Rowden was in the center of the fight when it was passed. It was a lot due to his negotiation, to his patience, to his diligence, to his protecting of the Senate. These people on the outside don't care about the Senate being protected. That is a sacred trust that's been passed down from generation to generation. Right now, it's in the hands of Caleb Rowden. So yes, it took a little longer than maybe some, the suburban screaming caucus would like. But the fact is, he got this done in a way that I think most folks thought he couldn't get it done. He's going to protect those kids from his point of view, and he's going to protect the state Senate. I think anybody that's criticized Caleb Rowden or Cindy O'Loughlin in the last 2 weeks, hopefully they'll be man enough today to say, you know what? Hey, however it happened, good for them. This is what success looks like.
I'm glad in the end it worked out, but Rowden is often on the wrong side of some of our conservative values. He's one of the names that, Luke Meyer always comes to mind. There's a couple of others. Down the line, we've had some different issues come along, and Rowden is often one of the names that I refer to as, I don't know specifically right now. There's been many things over the years I've been in this business, and I don't have an issue with him, but either way, what's most
Can I tell you what I think the truth is? I think Caleb Rowden defeated some folks in a leadership race, and they've been pissed off about it for 5 years now, and they whine at every turn.
But it just seems like he's one of the people who's always a holdout on some of our conservative value bills that come through. But either way, what's most important is that we protect the children. The children have to be protected. And I'm so glad the right thing happened here, because we absolutely have to make sure that children in the state of Missouri are not getting puberty blockers, that they're not able to have these transgender surgeries.
I give credit to Caleb Brown, as Scott said, because this is an example of what's going on around the country right now as well. Think about all of the issues each state has. And of course, we already know how problematic it can be for parties to talk. In the end, Caleb Brown got it done. He did, regardless of what you feel or think or what's happened in the past. This is the biggest issue that's taken center stage. So Missouri got on the right side of this. They did. I'll say it. They did. Missouri got on the right side of this.
The 60% of this state does agree that this is that protecting kids is banning these types of procedures that WashU's been doing, and therapies and counseling. There's also 40% of this state that passionately believe that taking care of kids means helping them transition. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I probably am your typical straight, white, heterosexual, Christian, white, male hillbilly. And I agree with the majority on this. However, I do try to see things from other people's perspective. And there are passionate, sincere people who truly believe they're doing the best thing for kids from the other side. And so Caleb Brown has a Senate made up of about 60% of folks that agree with me. But there's also 40% of folks that don't agree. And I thought this is the way the Senate handles these issues, in a thoughtful way. You usually don't get everything you want. That's what a democracy is from a dictatorship. And I'm sure people look, when you're in the leadership chair, you get criticized, right? And that's that comes with the turf. But I think the truth is Caleb Rowden won a very hard fought leadership race against some folks. They have endeavored to make his life miserable ever since. They have to a certain extent. But you got to look at the pro-life bill. Abortion was illegal immediately when Roe came down. That's due to stuff that happened while Caleb Brown's in the chair. I think he gets the blame when he can't do every single thing like a St. Charles County dictatorship.
Well, I think a lot of us, Scott, I think a lot of us folks who are fighting hard for the Greitens campaign, I think maybe a lot of the issues come down to that, because, Rowden was the person who alerted police.
And by the way, I called him Caleb Brown. That was my fault. It's Caleb Rowden. Brown. My bad.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of maybe the feelings toward Rowden may stem from him calling the police on Greitens, saying he was hunting rhinos. That could be an issue.
Well, I mean, Eric Greitens is a clown, and I guess there's 15% of the Republican primary electorate that would still vote for him. But I would say 85. Well, they actually had a
60. Poll. There's no 60%.
Tabitha, they had a scientific poll done last August, and about 85% of the Republican primary electorate voted for somebody else. So I would say maybe 15% of the folks don't like what Caleb Rowden did, but it certainly appears that 85% of the people would agree that Eric Greitens is a clown and probably would rather have somebody else represent them.
I can't agree with you on that, but I love you anyway.
Hey, Scott,
they counted the votes.
Well, we know how the voting system goes.
Oh, Tabitha, stop it.
I love Tabitha. That's what I love. Dead straight wrong, and she just digs in. I love it.
Hey, Scott, anything else coming down the pipeline when it comes to Missouri politics? Because we already know once one fire gets put out or two fires get put out, oh, yeah, there's something else burning right now that we have to take care of.
I think what's going to happen now that I know this debate's settled, it moves to the House. The House is not as bullish as some of the Senate is on some of these things. I think they actually want to take a little bit more measured approach. So seeing how that happens is going to be interesting. You have an actual doctor as the floor leader in the House, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure everyone in the medical community is as gung ho to ban these procedures as some in the Senate are. So it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see the thing move to schools now. It's so funny that if you had a little red light that had hypocrisy alert, just strap in and see that the same folks that are decrying WashU now are going to want to expand the WashU charter schools. It's going to be so funny to watch. They call it school choice or something. It's going to be the funniest thing ever. All the folks that were saying WashU's so woke and terrible are going to be tripping over themselves to throw more money at WashU. Watch. They're going to take down their anti-WashU flag and put up their Go Bears flag. That's going to be hilarious.
Scott? Explain that more for me, please. Dumb it down.
I'll use Bob Onder's analogy. They take millions of dollars from the charter school people. And so that's what they're told to do. And most suburban Republicans do whatever the craziest person with a 202 phone number zip code tells them to do. So right now they're getting paid and they're told on Facebook, oh, you should do school choice. Well, school choice means the wokest, most left-wing institutions in this state, charter schools, they want to put one right there in St. Charles County, all over the place, actually. And they do kick the regular schools, and a lot of times they deserve it. But it's like on COVID. Do you know who who was the last schools to drop the mask mandate? Charter schools by months. Now look, Vic, I came on. My son was at Karl Marx Elementary there in Baldwin, hated it. He did a year. He did a year at Baldwin Elementary. He'd rather done 2 in Folsom. But now he's over here in Jeff City going to school, happy as he can be. I hate it for you city people. I don't know how I hate you have to live that way. But the fact is, you're going to see all these suburban legislators. They're going to call it school choice. What they want to do is take the wokest thing they can possibly have, the wokest institutions in our state, and jam them down the throat of the suburbs. And I guess the only thing Vic, I don't come out and say, oh, it's for campaign contributions. Do they matter? Yes. Are they influential? Yes. Are they everything? Usually not. In this case, I cannot think of one possible reason why a suburban legislator would want to shove a charter school in his district after going on for months and months about how woke WashU is. Now you essentially want to take folks to identify potential transgender clients that they can now take to Illinois and frankly, literally cut their penises off.
People don't understand.
They want to shove in the suburbs.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
They just don't understand the difference. I'm all for community schooling where parents get together and they take turns homeschooling kids as a group. But when you put these charter schools in, some of them are the most liberal schools, and some of them are far worse than public schools.
I've never even heard this, that they're way worse. I had no idea, Scott, because Eric's not here. He's a champion of charter schools. You see Iowa right now championing charter schools as if it's a massive conservative issue movement. Are you not saying?
No, they're the most liberal things.
But they can't change by who owns them?
Well, they are influenced by who owns them, like everybody in the world is. And they're owned by WashU. The most liberal groups you can find do these charter schools. It's just what they are. You go walk through a charter school, Vic, and all you're going to see is Black Lives Matter, you deserve a hug. Come walk through Blair Oaks Elementary in Cole County. You're going to see hustle, grit, determination, work. Their motto is work today to gain tomorrow.
But Scott, don't you think that could also be where those charter schools in the state of Missouri are now, right smack dab in the heart of St. Louis City, a hardcore Democratic area?
Now, Vic, that is logical, and you're applying logic to something that lobbyists have paid millions of dollars to influence. Do you not think that part of the problem of some of the public schools is they're right smack dab in the middle of St. Louis where nobody uses any sense?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And nobody makes that point. They only make the point they're paid to make. You can go, just pick your suburban legislator. I guarantee you, they'll come in and tell you how great charter schools are. And when you say, now, wait a minute, you are against WashU and their transgender center, right? They're going to say, well, of course I am. Now, do you think it's possible, Vic, as a businessman yourself now, which I love about you, Do you think it's possible that they use that charter school to identify kids that might be transgender to then send to the transgender center to then they can make great money off of, giving them hormones and counseling? And now guess what's going to happen? Just like with abortion, there's going to be a nice big Chevy Tahoe parked at the old transgender center to take you right across the river, right by the strip clubs, right past the gambling boats, over to Illinois, and you're going to go right to that transgender center where there is no rules. Now, I get what can you do about that? I guess you make the strongest statement you can for Missouri, but that's what's going to happen. Just like with abortion, no, there's not more abortions in Missouri. There's some awful nice Chevy Tahoe vans parked right, or SUVs parked right there at the old Planned Parenthood on Lindell that'll drive you right over to Illinois where you can have an abortion that day. And they have a Taj Mahal of abortion. They'll have a Taj Mahal of transgender centers. And that's just federalism, right? That's just the way it goes. But what you will have is these schools they'll be trained to spot kids that they think. And here's the thing: I don't believe the people at the transgender center are some sinister, awful people. They're like the bad guy in Die Hard. They think they're right. You remember in Die Hard, he was trying to free the Russian guy from jail. The bad guy from Die Hard thought he was right. He believed in his cause.
That's Putin.
These folks. There you go. I mean,
Putin is right.
The best villains always believe in their cause. These folks believe they're doing something right. They are not there to hurt children. They believe what they're doing helps children. Now, I don't agree with them, but they think they're doing a good thing.
But school choice means so much more than just parents putting their kids in charter schools. I mean, let's say school choice, that also gives the parents more options for homeschooling. And I might be wrong, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong. Or it might give them more options for, like I said, community schooling. I am all for community schooling. And it shouldn't parents just be educated what charter schools are, so that when school choice, let's say, is here, parents can say, okay, we have school choice, we have more options, but we're going to make the decision to stay away from charter schools.
Well, I'm from Missouri. You show me. There's a bill I think makes a lot of sense that got passed this year. It's kind of like putting your toe in the school choice water. You can go to any public school that you want to. So if one public school has some extra seats and they want to offer them to other people that aren't from their district, they can. And that's going to be interesting to see how people take advantage of that. That's kind of, I mean, obviously, people in the suburbs are like, oh my God, we have to have what we want right now. Let me whine and complain all day. The victimhood caucus of the suburbs usually wants whatever now. It's a very good, the old boy from Sedalia, Brad Paul, has got a great idea. Let's try this in a controlled form, see how it goes. With homeschoolers, this is what I got to tell you. If you take the money, they may give you money up front. There will be a pound of documents you're going to fill out. There is no free lunch. The school choice people will tell you, oh, this is utopia. It's going to be great. Yes, you'll get a check in the mail. And then you're going to get you a FedEx the next day of about 100 documents to sign. And there's going to be 10,000 after that. There will be no money. And here's the thing. If there's money without accountability, everybody throws a fit. There will be accountability with this. The federal government, if they're going to give you money,
accountability.
Well, you're going to get it. And I'm just going to tell you, the homeschool ethos is such an independent, almost entrepreneurial. That's why they're so successful. The homeschool ethos is I take things into my own hands. When you take government money, that will be over. Not completely. I'm not a doomsdayer either. I'm not, you know me. I'm not a guy that says, oh, it's going to be all great or all bad. The fact is, once you take their money, you will start to have to comply to their regulations and their accountability. You have to do things their way. That's just the way it goes. If you take the money, you take their strings. And homeschool folks are going to be the folks that hate it the most. Your charter school folks are very left-wing liberal. They don't mind all the paperwork. That's sort of in their ethos to comply and do all the federal regulations. Homeschool folks are the most independent. And I bet you, I'll bet you an ice cold Bud Light, Big Faust, that once homeschool folks, the most independent, the most conservative folks in all of education, take the money, I promise you, they're gonna get the regulations. And I tell you what, I got a prediction. After about 2 years of this, homeschool people are gonna say, cancel this.
I'm with you on that one. 100% with you on that one, because you know what? We need less government in our schools and definitely less government in our homes.
Scott,
you need to have Jill Carter on. Jill Carter's got an idea to get DESE out. She doesn't like that DESE takes federal money. She wants you to be able to opt out of taking federal money.
Yes.
I don't know that that's the right answer for every school, but I tell you, I like Jill Carter. I'm going to send you her number, Vic.
Thank you.
Everyone, she's a breath of fresh air. You're going to love Jill Carter. she's this great person who just is this effervescent personality who come up with this idea that says, hey, we don't like doing this anymore. Let's just not take their money and let's not do their the hoops we have to jump through. It's not for every school district, but I love the approach of giving school districts options. I think that's a great idea.
No, it is. Scott, before we let you go, we've had you on for a while. What's the latest regarding a possible state takeover of the police department in St. Louis? And has it taken a back seat because of the court case that we now have with Bailey, the Missouri Attorney General, and Kim Gardner, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney?
Well, the truth is, you're going to have to go through one senator called Senator Carla May to get that done. Senator May looks at that as a state takeover of her district, just like every other senator would if there was a police department that was only in one district and you were going to take it over. Senator May, I believe, is probably going to have to be out of the Senate before that happens. This is Vic, just between me and you and Tabitha, my white trash hillbilly prediction sitting here in my camo after not sleeping last night. I will tell you this. I think that the Governor Parson, if he wants to do a state takeover of the police department, is going to have to offer Carla May a job, make her an administrator of XYZ. And while that Senate seat is open, that's the only time you're going to be able to pass that bill through the legislature. Now, you might pass that bill with the way it was brought in at the public, right? The public could vote for it. But I think what happened is you can only push people so far. And the folks frankly, there was a meeting in Jeff City, and they chose to put puberty blockers and transgender kids taking over the St. Louis Police Department. And you can only get so many concessions. And frankly, you guys lost. And so what's going to have to happen is it probably is not this year thing. If Andrew Bailey is successful in his attempt to rid the state of Kim Gardner, I think people are going to say, okay, let's see what happens here. But if he's not, or if things are worse next year, Governor Parsons is going to have to make her labor, on the labor commission or something. And if that district's open, then I think you could absolutely have a state takeover again. I think every police officer thinks that's a good idea. I think everyone in the suburbs thinks that's a good idea. And I think there's probably a silent, close to majority of St. Louisans who think, I don't want to say this out loud, but what we've done here has not worked.
It makes sense, my man. Nobody tells it like you do, Scott. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Once again, how can people watch you, and who are your guests this week? Because you're always getting the best guests in the state when it comes to politics.
This week in Missouri politics, 9:00 Sunday morning, ABC 30. A freshman senator, a hard charger, a guy you'd love to have on your show. It's Ben Brown. I don't know if he's been on. I've not seen him on the show. Ben Brown is a cage fighting dude. He's got his cauliflower ear. He's a freshman senator, hard charging old boy. He represents Franklin County, but some days when he votes squirrely, I tell him he's from St. Louis. But he's a good old boy. You'll like old Ben Brown. He's going to be my guest this week, and we'll have a good time with him. I'd like to see him visit with you all a little bit.
He has. We love Ben.
Hey, by the way,
he's probably listening right now.
Hey, if people haven't
him and Crystal.
Yeah. Hey,
him and Chris together could get real crazy. You watch.
If people haven't checked out MissouriTimes.com, what can they expect to get what you put out on a daily basis?
Well, they could get all about our event for Senator Rizzo as our Statesman of the Year. They could get all about the precursor leading up to what happened last night. And after I sleep for a little bit, sometime this afternoon, they can get all about what happened last night and the inner workings of how this compromise came about. And you'll never, guys, I know your listeners probably aren't wanting to hear this, but Greg Razor is the first openly gay member of the Missouri Senate. He had to compromise a great deal to have this happen. It's easy to celebrate when you get your bill passed that you want to see. It takes a lot of statesmanship to allow a bill to pass and not break the Senate that you hated with everything in your being. The Democrats deserve a lot of credit for their statesmanship in not breaking the Senate and allowing a bill to pass that frankly did have the overwhelming support of the body.
Well, you still believe in politics the way it was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, my friend, and I know you're trying and you're pushing it forward. Real quick, do you like this World Baseball Championship or not?
No. I think the Cubs, every Cub should play in it and no Cardinal should play in it. I hate it. I hate Rob Manfred. I think Rob Manfred is some like Saddam Hussein and Satan had like an evil baby, and the bad guy from Ghostbusters Rob Manfred's awful.
He runs
Interleague
baseball for
play
our
is
listeners who
awful.
don't know sports.
The commissioner of baseball and the Antichrist. I hate the DH with everything in me. I hate it like Tabitha hates puberty blockers. I hate the DH. I hate interleague play. I hated mixing the umpires. I hate the more wild cards. I hate every possible change he's made to the game. He hates baseball. He hated the National League.
He
Now he's
probably
ruined
hates
it.
the Cardinals too, then, right?
Oh, if you're a traditionalist, who's the most traditional team in the world? The crown jewel of the National League, the senior circuit, the Cardinals. He's done everything to water this game down so some skateboard driving, pot smoking hipsters would watch it. And guess what? They still don't watch it. This baseball's not for them. They should watch some other squirrely sport. Watch soccer. Don't watch
Scott,
baseball.
there's still Scott. There's still hope for your son Gussie to someday become
My God.
Major League Baseball commissioner, or at least the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals.
He's a German winning machine. He'd set things right, I promise you.
Scott Fawn, MissouriTimes.com. Love you as always. Appreciate it, my friend. Thanks for the education.
Thank you, buddy. Bye, Tabitha.
Bye. Have a good day, Scott.
That's funny. Scott Fawn, always a great guest. I look down at our comment line. Of course, people say, this is a great guest. Hey, what do you like what Scott says or you don't? I mean, he's speaking truth. He's there. He's at the Capitol. He's in Jefferson City. He's breaking stuff down. So, case in point, breaking news update. The Missouri legislature did pass the situation with no surgery, no blockers, or at least the blockers for kids. This is Kids Health through Washington University. It was a massive story in the state of Missouri. It's a massive story no matter where you're listening from around the country when it comes to your own state. So they got it done. Caleb Rowden got it done with the Missouri Senate to block it. And, of course, blocking men, biological men, from competing in women's sports.
All good news.
You're happy.
I am happy.
How about that? And
it is all
and
good
you
news.
two agree.
Because you know why? Because it's about children. Adults can do whatever they want. If you're 18 years old and you want to take puberty blockers or have transgender surgery, good for you. Do whatever you feel like you need to do. But if you're a child, no. We have to protect the children.
No, we do. And it just goes to show, and we'll get some of the headlines changed, but and we love Dr. Onder, former senator, but he was going after Caleb, saying that Caleb was taking money and that's why it didn't get done. So, hey, at the end of the day, they do get done. And for all intents and purposes, Scott was pretty much saying, hey, Dr. Onder and others who have ripped Caleb, it's time for you today to say sorry. Missouri,
I'm not saying sorry.
Missouri got it done. Missouri passed it. And when you're the leader of the Senate, you get the win or you get the loss, just like a manager in baseball, to go back to the baseball reference. So Missouri's gone that way. Not sure where anybody else goes, where you're listening from, what state today, what's heading in your state, but that's what's happening in the state of Missouri. You're listening to canceltheshow.com. Once again, canceltheshow.com. Please like, subscribe, all of our platforms. You can watch us live. When you're talking to people, let people know, hey, it's as easy as canceltheshow.com. I run into people, canceltheshow.com. I was at the grocery store last night and a woman goes, oh, you're not on the news tonight. I was like, no, I don't do the news anymore. We have this little thing called canceltheshow.com. She's like, oh, I'm going to have to check it out. Sweet woman. She started telling me about her kids who are at DeSmet. And I am just like, yeah, sometimes in life you get forced into things. You have to do
for the
that.
Best, hopefully.
Yes,
for the best.
For the best.
Because now you're free.
Canceltheshow.com. Thanks again for jumping in on the chat line. Give us your thoughts on the interview with Scott Fawn. Scott's he's there. He's an interesting guy.
I really like Scott Fawn. I like, you know what I like the best about him is he tells it how it is. He really does. He tells you straight out how it is. I don't agree with everything he says because I know Greitens got the win.
Oh my God, we don't have to talk about Greitens anymore. That's over. Unfortunately, there were things, and by the way, I did get a text yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Vic, you need to correct Tabitha. Is what it said. Donald Trump never called Eric Greitens and said, "I'm giving my support to you."
Yes, he did.
Let me fit. You never let me finish.
I don't have to let you finish because I already know he did.
Try to tell you, then you go, "Let me talk." And then some of your
well, go ahead and finish. And then I'll tell you you're wrong.
Donald Trump. I was called because they were there. Oh, somebody who was there in the plane. I'm just telling you right now, Donald Trump never made the call to Eric Greitens. Kimberly Guilfoyle made the call. That, of course, the girlfriend.
Okay, well then
At
I
the
will.
time of,
Yeah.
let me finish.
Okay.
The girlfriend of Donald Jr. called and told Eric that, but Donald Trump never did. And then that's where the confusion happened for all of Eric Greitens supporters who were running his campaign and publicity events like you. So I know it was a side note. So now, whatever you want to say, you can say.
I know the whole story about Kimberly and the situation that took place that day. And that was that I know Kimberly was Greitens' campaign manager, and Kimberly had a letter that had been written. It was the support letter for Donald Trump to sign and was on Donald Trump's desk. And that's when Ronna McDaniel showed up. And of course, everything changed. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think I know who your source is. And the person who told me that Greitens got that call came from the same person.
Okay.
So that's where maybe the confusion comes in.
Well, regardless, we just wrap up details. I remember being told that. By the way, I was just looking at our chat line. Ric Flair coming on Thursday.
Oh, that's right. That's exciting.
We're figuring out the time Thursday. It's not today. Initially, we said Tuesday, but Rick's so busy with his Woo Chews, his marijuana company, we had to push that back to Thursday. So he has a company with Mike Tyson, Mike Bites. No truth to the rumor. At least I've heard that the little gummies have a little face with an ear bitten off in regards to Evander Holyfield. So Mike Tyson trying to capitalize on that, calling them Mike Bites.
Woo! Hey, it's the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and you're listening to Cancel This. Woo!
Love that guy.
It was so cool meeting him.
Yeah, you had
Such a nice guy.
He was actually in studio last week. I wasn't here. You were still here getting some work done, Scott.
Yeah.
Did he walk right in saying that?
No, actually, he was very just kind of calm and walked in, introduced himself, walked around, saw this. Oh, this is great. When can I be on? You know, that kind of thing. He was awesome. Just super friendly.
Thursday. Todd says his documentary is the best. I bet that would be the best documentary, or 30 for 30 on ESPN. I have not seen the documentary, but we will. By the way, we're having Ric Flair on not just so we can go, woo. It's not a sideshow. It's not a circus. He's going to dive into cancel culture and how much he hates it and how it's been one of the worst things that this country has ever had, ever seen, ever experienced. And now he does whatever he can to explain why you should not have it. Anyway, Ric Flair always flies into Strategic Air Services. Of course, if you're flying in, flying out, you know people who are flying in, flying out. You want to buy a plane, you know pilots. It's all about Strategic Air Services, Strategic Air Services. We have Kevin Malutnik on the air occasionally when we have flight situations that we have to get into. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about. We got to switch gears right now. Donald J. Trump, arrested or not today? Is it the, I still am calling it theater as I did yesterday. I don't think there's any way in hell he's getting arrested. Anything's possible. Now we're starting to get word, and I don't know if it was Fox News or OAN. Somebody reported that, oh yeah, now it's not going to. And by the way, I will never whisper again. Sorry. It reminded people of, come on, man.
Right. No,
come on, man. Ooh, that's scaring me now.
Yeah, now that that's kind of relative, it's like, wait a minute.
So once again, I told you it was theater yesterday, and I believe it's always going to be theater for Donald Trump not getting arrested today. And then I'm looking at the chat line was announced, not today. Oh, next week, a virtual arraignment. See that you're not going to get this Donald Trump.
Well, they've always said there won't be a perp walk. There won't be a public mugshot. You know, it's not unusual for politicians, quite honestly, to be arrested. Even politicians who are running for president have and can be indicted and arrested. It's not terrible.
Well, Tabitha, sum up what's going on with this whole deal. He's telling people he's going to be arrested on Tuesday.
And we're
Trump supporters.
But think about this. Trump never had no one officially told him, hey, Donald Trump, you're going to be arrested. It was a leak that he heard. It was a rumor. It was hearsay that he heard that led him to believe he was going to be arrested today. And so what I'm hearing now, just like everyone else on the comment line is hearing, that now it's going to be next week. But I will tell you what, yesterday I was kind of back and forth is he really going to be arrested? Is he not? what's going to happen. Is the leak real? Is it not real? But it does appear that the leak is real, that there are actually talks and discussions about indicting and arresting him.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it's all over mainstream news.
Everybody's talking about it.
I know.
But that doesn't mean anything's coming.
It's, if they
Donald Trump used this for his advantage.
I don't agree with that at all. I really don't. I don't agree with that.
I know. But the thing about it is,
I think he's reactionary is the problem.
Doesn't matter.
He's very reactionary. Here's the difference.
That can be positive and negative.
You're absolutely correct on that. And I wish that maybe he would have held back just a little bit, but that's Donald Trump.
Think?
And you take the good and you take the bad. And I think Donald Trump, as I said yesterday, has every right to ask for people to protest. I absolutely believe that. That's our right as Americans to protest for what we believe in.
Yeah, you're right. But now here's what I think you're doing that's not there. You're creating a situation. Go protest on something that was never factual, that was never 100% for sure happening. Go protest.
The only thing I can think of is
we all love protest on this show. Peaceful protest.
Of course we do. Of course we do.
It is a right, because too many people forget about our Constitution and our rights, our Bill of Rights. We don't study it anymore. But that has nothing to do with it.
But Trump is very reactionary. And I think it is. And that's the way I explain it, is that as soon as he heard this leak, he would probably became very angry, and he probably, and let's say if this was Obama, or let's say it was a different politician, they have a team of people surrounding them, and they have a little bit more composure. They're less impulsive, and they're going to call their attorney. They're going to call their advisors, and the advisors are going to say, "Don't tweet anything. Don't go on Facebook." But sit back and let's wait. Donald Trump is not that guy. And that's what I like about him, is he's not that guy. So I will take the good and the bad.
What did I tell you yesterday? I said it was a distraction, didn't I?
Yes.
Of what? All the Biden crap going on.
There's so much.
Let's bring this stuff up.
With Biden.
Let's bring this stuff up. Even though Joe Biden's, there's no payments here, and nothing's going on there. You do have other members of that family. It's just not being talked about publicly, admitting to guilt. So when it comes to the Donald Trump situation, he's not going to be arrested today. Maybe next week. It's another big story with no truth at all going on. So what happens? Here we are again. Donald has the news cycle churning, which he does so well, to get more publicity. And then he goes on Truth Social last night. Didn't you say that's the only place he still had? I thought he was going to be allowed on Twitter and Facebook. And
it was offered that they would open his Twitter account again. He said no, because why should he? He has Truth Social, that is his own platform. He can say anything he wants on Truth Social. We all know to go there to find.
But I was listening to it. The sound sounded bad. I don't know if that was intentionally done. Scott was looking at it. We were going to play the sound, but it sounds bad. I don't know if that's his sound, if it's Truth Social.
It's his.
It was bad. It's not. Did you hear it, Eric? Because it's not even playable.
He's not a audio engineer, and he's not working for CBS. He's got a little handy cam or something that's basically not well lit either. You can see his pores in his skin. He doesn't have Mac makeup going on. I mean, he's just basically.
Look who's here! Oh my gosh, I didn't even see you come in.
Well, I have that effect.
What? Yeah.
I'm like the ghost. They call me the vape. But no, I think that Trump. You know what? Here's what happened, and sometimes you just got to break it down. He heard through the grapevine that they were looking to see what's the logistics of arresting the 45th president of the United States. And so authorities A in Manhattan talked to authorities B in Mar-a-Lago and said, hey, we're going to come get this guy. What do we do? And then someone leaked it to the president. He said, so they're coming on Tuesday, right after the Michael Cohen interview at the grand jury. So that's what happened here. So it was on deck. There's a damn good chance that Trump completely diffused the whole situation.
I've heard that argument as well.
I don't know about that. I don't know that they would have ever come to his home to arrest him. I mean, maybe just because it's Trump and they do the most ridiculous things with Trump. But I think that they are is unsmart as some liberal politicians are. I think they know that if they came to Trump's house, and they arrested him and they put him in handcuffs and they put him in a police car, we would all go absolutely nuts.
There's precedents on this already. John Edwards went through the same.
I
thing.
remember that. That was exactly the example I was going to bring up.
And that's how we look at the court system. Is there a precedent for something that has happened? It's always an uphill battle when you're trying to fight against precedent. This is a political banana republic situation.
Correct.
And it's been spotlighted big time. They wanted to walk in with a bunch of handcuffs, perp walk his ass out, and have that for the election cycle coming up. That's
Correct.
what they wanted. Trump, like a genius, like a boss, basically diffused the whole thing and said, I can't wait. You guys are coming after me. Get ready. The protest will start. And now MSNBC has to backtrack it and say, you are literally going to hand over the presidency to this guy if you arrest him.
Well, I saw that from the get-go, though, Eric. Lizzie agrees with your take on that, Eric. By the way, she's not in the studio today. I don't necessarily agree with it 100% yet. I do think that liberal media understands the significance of what that looks like, as Tabitha was saying, regarding the popularity, even more so infusing his base if they tried to do that.
Oh, totally. At that point, DeSantis should just go sit down in the bullpen. Seriously. I don't mean to say, but DeSantis now becomes a far number 2 because this guy becomes Obi-Wan Kenobi overnight.
But here's the other issue you have going on now. Trump went after Ron DeSantis last night.
Yeah, but DeSantis didn't say anything bad.
No, but here's the thing. DeSantis continues to take the high road. He was asked to get involved in this situation. He finally said yesterday, as we talked about on the show, he's waiting for facts. But he went after the Soros-led Democrat militant activist, D.A. Bragg, went after him hardcore. Went after him for what he was doing to Trump. But then Trump comes out and starts repeating what liberal media was going after DeSantis for last year regarding possible news coming up with him and another man or him and underage girls.
Well,
what the hell is going on?
This goes to what I was talking about yesterday. The Republicans had better start getting together. They better. Or else they're going to lose it all. Seriously, not
Republicans can't come together because
they're in trouble.
We're not the same
They're in
party.
trouble.
We might all vote Republican, but we are definitely not the same party.
I tell you what, Bernie Sanders and AOC are not the same, and the
Bernie Sanders and AOC are exactly the same.
Well, not really.
They're both all for socialism.
There's a lot of Democrats that are blue dog that have to swim in the same pool as an AOC.
There's no question about it.
That's the point. And AOC.
And look what they did. Eric, you and I have been over this so many times. Yes, Democrats did stick together. And yes, we had blue dog Democrats voting Democrat for Biden because they want to unify their party. But look what happened by them doing that. They absolutely destroyed their party. Now Democrats, they're no longer Democrats anymore. Now Democrats are a bunch of communist socialists.
Correct.
And they destroyed their party. We can't let that happen to us.
But isn't it fair to say that Ron DeSantis regarding Trump has taken the high road so far?
Mm-hmm.
But do you know why?
But time out. Let's break it down. Has Ron DeSantis taken the high road so far with Trump?
Yes, but we have to start asking why.
That's what I refer to as he has taken the high road so far regarding Donald Trump.
Wouldn't you if you were guilty?
Maybe. But what I'm saying is what we know so far, what we have proof of, he has taken the high road. He has not lashed out and he has not done anything. So far, he has taken the high road. So when I say he's taken the high road, I am 100% correct in saying that. And we all agree on the show. Now, what else is going to happen next?
But we have to read between the lines. At least that's what I'm doing. And I think that's what many other Americans are doing is we're reading between the lines. And I love DeSantis. I'm not against DeSantis. I think he's been a great governor of Florida. However, him taking the high road could be basically him leaving out the fact that maybe there's some truth. Because I'll tell you what, if it were me and I was Ron DeSantis and Trump was making these accusations about me and they weren't true, I would be coming after him really hard. I would be fighting tooth and nail.
But it also
I would be
makes
suing
him,
him.
right?
Does it make him look good taking the high road?
Yeah.
It makes him look guilty.
Makes him look like a great politician.
I think it
don't
makes him
agree.
look like a great politician.
I think it makes him look
It makes
guilty.
him marketable.
But you look at everybody a little differently, though, too.
No, I don't. I look at
Yeah, you
people
do.
like, no, because most people agree with me. So I think I look like
Well,
at
it has
people
nothing to whether
and
people
situations.
whether you think people agree with you or not. That's in your mind.
No,
what I'm
it's-
saying is, if Ron DeSantis responded or anybody responded to every single thing somebody's coming after us with, you included, me included, Eric included. You can't do it all the time. So I think it's better not to say anything.
Well, that's your opinion. And mine is just my opinion. But what I'm saying is, based on the information I've seen, and I'm not saying everybody agrees with me because I'm right. I'm trying to explain that I think the majority of Americans feel like I do. I always say I'm a very average American, and most of the time, my opinions on things are what the average American also thinks.
You're not the average American.
Yes,
You're
I
much
am.
more educated than the average American.
I wouldn't say that. I think
when
that,
it comes to politics and issues, you are light years ahead of the average American.
but I think most people, when you look at people and you study what they're saying and their behavior, and they're being attacked constantly, and they're not defending themselves, they look guilty.
No. So here's the deal.
And again, that's
I
just my
see
opinion.
and what Vic said is right. Take the compliment. You are much smarter than the average American. So as a PR advertising executive for a long time myself,
I thought you still are.
Well, I do stuff on this.
I thought that's what you were doing for an hour every morning during the show.
Yeah,
I'm just
here's
teasing.
the deal. Here's the deal.
At Starbucks
We don't look at you guys as people. I do not look at Tabitha as a human being. I look at you as a target.
As a human being.
I thought you were going to say a cyborg.
I thought he was going to say that too.
A political cyborg.
So stand down. Hold on a second. I don't look at you as I look at you as a target. And when I look at a demographic and I'm like, we have to win over these amazing soccer moms in Chesterfield Valley and in Ladue, and we have to get them to realize that what they've been voting for is going to kill their community. If as a marketing company, as a political marketeer, I'm not looking at you. You're off the board. You are a Trump supporter. You are one of the 30% that everybody talks about, the solid base of Trump support. I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the lady over here, like Vic said, that's not as educated as you, that's just looking to see who's nice. Oh, look at this nice DeSantis guy in Florida. He doesn't sound like he calls people horseface. Maybe I'll vote for him. So you got to understand something. When I come in here and I sound crotchety and old and whatever, I'm not. I'm looking at
you. Don't sound crotchety.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this race as a bunch of geo-targeted demographics like you should be looking at. I know you want Trump desperately. I can feel it in your soul. I can feel it.
That's not necessarily the case. I love Trump. You guys know I love Trump. And if Trump runs in 2024, guess who I'm voting for? But if Trump decided not to run and DeSantis ran, I would vote for DeSantis.
Maybe the worst thing in the world.
I'm not against
Maybe
DeSantis.
the worst thing in the world.
I just think he's
about
guilty.
this.
You got some energy this morning, Tabitha?
They're
Do I
all
look
guilty.
like it?
The worst thing in the world, maybe, is that your boy wins the primary. Think about that for a second. Have you ever watched a playoff series and said the worst thing in the world is for this team to get in the Super Bowl because they cannot beat these guys? You know what I'm talking about?
But that would not be the case because we all know that Trump has the support of the majority. The people you're talking about, the people on the fence, the independents who don't know what they're going to do. In a fair election system, we don't need their vote. In a fair election system,
we have a new bumper
we don't
sticker
need them.
for you.
Yes.
Give me one more. Give me two more.
And one more.
Oh my goodness.
It sounds like an old 1959 Harley.
I'm going to turn my horn on my car into that.
Tabitha is political AI. One of my favorite comments of this morning
that's funny,
from
Glenn.
viewer Glenn. Oh my gosh.
She is definitely the most sought after person on this show.
That's right.
No doubt.
She is.
But
Tabitha Hassel.
Yeah.
But don't you think psychologically when let's just say, and I'm asking you guys this question, when you're trying to decide who to vote for, what is it you're looking for? Are you going to say, well, I'm going to vote for this person because they took the high road? Or are you going to think they're weak because they didn't defend themselves?
I look at it like, how in the hell did Los Angeles not get rid of their DA? How did the recall for Gavin Newsom get shot down? How in the world did a St. Louis, Missouri vote for a Cori Bush? What in the hell is going on?
Eric.
And so that's what I'm always thinking. I'm thinking, okay, I got to get my mind in the game.
Eric,
people are just not
as you're very intelligent.
I am, and I understand why. But here's the other thing. I think people are also kind of smart. And I think that we're getting to a point, there's a crossroads. You either understand what's going on in your community and you're going to vote this stuff out.
People don't vote. That's the problem.
Well, you're right about that.
Bingo.
You're right about that. You got to make it fashionable.
where
People
it
don't care,
starts.
Eric. It's so frustrating to me. Believe it or not, when I
I'm
leave
sick
the
of Drew
show-
Collins always being right.
Stop it. He's not always
No.
I'm
right.
sick of Drew Collins
don't
always
give
being
him
right.
more hype.
I can't help it.
Stop it.
I'm honest.
Oh my God.
Most people,
Oh my
Eric,
God, Eric.
unfortunately,
Right about
don't watch
what?
the news.
He's
Yeah,
been
we had
right
that.
about every election that I said was
No,
not.
he has
oh,
not.
Vic,
He is
Vic,
not. Drew is
Okay.
never
Vic.
right.
Vic.
He's calling DeSantis a switch hitter. Is he
Vic.
right about that?
Anyway,
Guys, we got to take a quick break. We come back. We'll tell you why. Well, I was just sent an article why DeSantis did take a shot at Trump, a 22-word shot at Trump yesterday. We'll get into that. Biden uses his first veto as president, and Republicans and Democrats are pissed at him about it, meaning the puppet masters are pulling the strings. Democrats even calling him out on this one. We'll get into that, which is a little bit surprising. Oh, and guess what the new Florida is? Iowa. Democrats are pissed at Iowans
for what?
because they're saying we're going to be like Florida.
Kick ass.
Yeah.
Missouri,
And
bring it.
we'll recap what happened in Missouri. Missouri also getting very, very stringent, very tough, passing legislation overnight. Actually, early this morning after about a 15-hour session where blockers and kids' trans surgeries blocked in the state of Missouri. Wash U can't do them anymore. That legislation gets passed. Men can't play in women's sports in the state of Missouri. Missouri becomes a 20th state to pass that. Plus, Zelensky calling out DeSantis and what happened with China and Russia yesterday. This will blow your mind.
It will absolutely blow your mind.
We'll get into it all. It's cancelthisshow.com. Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust, back in just a couple minutes.
You may know the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
If you are having a bad day at work, I can help. Hi, this is Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair. We just expanded to Cottleville and St. Peters and are looking for qualified automotive and auto body technicians that would want to work in a climate-controlled environment. That's right, we offer a fully climate-controlled, air-conditioned and heated facility in both Cottleville and St. Peters. Visit us at CompleteAB.com. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with EXP, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
So are you ready to be the grill master this summer? Well, look no further than Pixie Dust Seasoning. Our custom seasoning blends will take your barbecue to the next level. With 9 different blends to choose from, you will have the perfect flavors for any meat or veggie. And the best part is, our seasonings are low sodium and healthy, so you can indulge guilt-free. Whether you're hosting a big party or just cooking a late-night dinner, Pixie Dust Seasoning is the secret ingredient that you would thank us for. So head on over to our site at www.pixiedustseasoning.com to see our store locator, and I'm sure we'll have a store near you.
And when you visit the site, be sure to use the code name VIC so they know you came from cancelthisshow.com. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. Hey guys, welcome into canceltheshow.com. Appreciate you kicking it off your day on a Tuesday, March 21st, the first full official day of spring. We got a lot of topics we get into every day right here. Continue to share the show. Let people know about what we do. If you need a product, please partner with our partners. It helps us here at canceltheshow.com. And when you do, let them know you heard about them here on canceltheshow.com. We also appreciate donations when we get them as well to help everything go. We've gotten some donations, and we're grateful for you doing that. If you're on a laptop, you go to canceltheshow.com and click on the donate button. If you're on your mobile phone, you go to the menu once on the site, and there's a donate button there as well. So thank you for what you guys are doing when it comes with this as well. We were talking about this morning. Thanks, Scott Fawn, MissouriTimes.com. He was on explaining what happened in the Missouri Senate overnight. Legislation was passed blocking puberty blockers and trans surgeries for kids in Washington University. And if it wouldn't have been for the whistleblower, Scott said it as well. Not so sure it all would have passed. And I believe that's fair to say that's what Scott said, right? Isn't that what he said, Tabitha?
What now?
Never mind. You're not listening again. Dear God. She's going, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say
Eric
next?
asked me to look up something about Chat GPT, so I was looking that up.
That's all right. I believe that's what Scott had said. Because of the whistleblower, it got the attention that it needed, and it stopped. And even if there's 40% of the state of Missouri, in this hardcore red state that we have, he says 40%, according to all polling, said that kids should have the option for puberty blockers and surgeries.
Who did the polling?
Under of age. Well, there were 3 different pollings I saw.
I mean, it is what it is.
It's difficult to believe if it is,
that's sad.
No, I agree. We agree with it. Let kids at least become 18. Let them get to a legal drinking age before they can decide about their body. 21, voting, 18. My gosh. Anyway, so that legislation got passed. Also, girls/women cannot, or men and boys cannot compete in women's sports anymore in the state of Missouri. Missouri becoming the 20th state from that standpoint. Tabitha, if we could really quick, could you jump in? I mean, we're a national show, but when people go missing anywhere in the country, you want to talk about the names and let people know. Something happened in St. Charles at the end of last week. Jackie, she's been missing.
Absolutely. It's Jackie Elizabeth Mitchell. She lives I'll give you a little bit of the story. She went missing on Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, actually. Jackie lives in St. Charles. She works somewhere in the South County area. She worked on Tuesday. She left work around 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday evening, again on Fat Tuesday. She left work. She went to Maggie O'Brien's, which is also in South County, very near to her work. From what I understand, she is a regular at Maggie O'Brien, so it's not unusual for her to go there. She went to Maggie O'Brien's.
Not Maggie O'Brien's.
The Maggie O'Brien's, right, the one in
West
South County.
Yes.
Exactly, right down the street from where she works, allegedly. And she left there around 11:30. It's been confirmed that when she left Maggie O'Brien, she got into her car alone. She left alone. She left the parking lot safely. We don't know if she ever made it home or not. At least the public does not know. What we do know is her phone last pinged on Highway 364 near Bennington on Tuesday evening. And then the following day, on Wednesday, I believe that was the 15th, March 15th, her car was spotted in Overland, Missouri. And you know how police officers have those license plate readers?
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Her car was spotted in Overland on a license plate reader. And then on Thursday, her car was located at I think it was called the Whispering Pines apartment complex in Maryland Heights.
Correct.
And her credit card was last used at Maggie O'Brien's that night on Tuesday evening. It has not been used since. Her cell phone was turned off directly after it pinged at Bennington and Highway 364, and her cell phone has not been turned back on. And at this point, police are really just looking for answers.
There's a reason why there was a show called 48 Hours.
Whisper Hollow. Sorry. Thank you, Jeannie.
Because police will even tell you, detectives, they'll tell you, you have the first 48 hours are so important. And
they're very important.
And this, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to lessen it, it happens, unfortunately, what seems like
all too often,
all across the country. This is the latest one. And this is where I think local news media does do a good job of getting pictures out, getting information out, and trying to find her. But that's in our own backyard.
I think the police will solve this very, very quickly. I really do, because the area.
What's quickly?
Well, quickly.
You do a crime blog, but
yes,
but to the once again to the average St. Louisan or average person,
it takes time. But police have to.
It's been what, 5 days, 6 days?
It'll be 1 week today.
Yeah,
1 week today. And obviously, and that's too long, but it takes time for police to subpoena her phone records. It takes time to go out and look for surveillance video of the places she's been. But in the areas that she traveled, there's a lot of surveillance in these areas. There are a lot of cameras in these areas. They're going to go back and they're going to look at her cell phone records, and they're going to find out where her phone pinged. They're going to know every place she traveled until her phone turned off. And then from where her phone turned off, they're going to be looking at surveillance video of where she went from there. There's license plate readers, whether we like it or not, all across the area. And they're going to see if her license plate showed up on any of these license plate readers. And I really do think, think about this, 99% of cases, whether it's foul play or not, if somebody goes missing, they're with someone they know. That makes sense?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Stranger abductions, stranger homicides, stranger kidnappings are extremely rare. Extremely rare.
What is a story that's gotten to you from your crime blogs?
Oh, the biggest one for sure is Delphi, Indiana. Two young girls, 13 and 14 years old. They did. Yep. They just recently, I think it was maybe September or something like that. After all these years, that happened in 2017. And this is how crazy it is. And this was a stranger abduction case. But it turns out the guy who horrifically murdered a 13 and 14-year-old out walking on the trails.
Two young girls,
Abby and Libby. It turns out he was a guy that worked at the local CVS. He hung out in the bars where their family hung out. He knew one of them's mother.
You just gave me chills.
I gave myself chills.
You just never know who made
But that's just it. And that's one of typically the cases I write about are the cases that involve stranger abductions, stranger homicides. But and those are the rare cases. But that was a huge case. And then of course we had the case most recently in Idaho. The Idaho homicides where 4 students were murdered.
Well, this one has shocked me because I met this Jackie somewhere along the line. I don't know where I met her. When I saw her face and her picture, I went, "Oh, I know Jackie from somewhere." And of course, she's in the St. Charles area.
Yes.
So we'll continue to follow that story and see where the updates go in regards to finding her. Because imagine what it's like for the family. And
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I can't imagine
the families and the situations and the things that are going on there.
And I hope that they find a drone. I was hoping to reach out to them because they were looking for a drone. And I know
why a drone?
Well, when someone's missing, you don't know what happened. Did they walk off? Did somebody leave their body somewhere, or did somebody abandon them somewhere where they can't get to help? Are they hurt? And so sometimes you can take a drone, and sometimes you can take a thermal drone. And if somebody's injured, you can pick up their heat signal. And my son has a thermal drone, so I thought I was going to reach out to them after a week.
Why does your son have a thermal drone?
We've got all sorts of gadgets.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to be stupid. I'm like, what? Why? Unless he's in policing.
Well, I own a security company.
Yeah, but you're not out looking for warm bodies in the woods, are you?
We can. I mean, if somebody needs to look for a warm body in the woods.
It's like, hey, Mom, I'm going to go get the thermal drone.
Everybody needs one.
Anyway, welcome back to cancelthisshow.com. Scotty Gherkin here, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust. Appreciate you guys jumping in, of course, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central live, or you can watch us as many people do after we're off live. Of course, the show saves right there. All of our original content on the website, all the platforms to watch us and listen to us as well, to take us on the go as well. We're here. We're rocking and rolling. We had a massive situation yesterday that happened. The Donald Trump situation. Will he be arrested? He's not going to be arrested today. We don't even know if he is going to be arrested. We said, just ease back. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's see where it goes. And anything can possibly happen. Now we're getting word that nothing's going to be happening when it comes to the whole situation regarding Trump being arrested. Okay. With that being said, guess what? You've also got a situation going on right now where I thought that Ron DeSantis was taking the high road.
I hear you've been corrected.
The Daily Caller has an issue with me saying that. The Daily Caller says that these 22 words were an attack from DeSantis on Trump. Finally, quote, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair.
I look at it different. I look at it different.
So do I.
I'm sorry. Here, if I look at whenever you're critiquing this stuff, always think of yourself behind that podium. You might say, I think I would say exactly the same thing. I'd be like, I have no idea about what this case is about. Frankly, I don't give a damn. I have a lot of alligators in the state that I got to take care of, potholes. I have to take care of Florida. I have to take care of.
But it was a slam.
I have to take care of Florida. That being said, this is a political prosecution from a rogue prosecutor in New York who is funded by Soros. Next question. How can I help you?
But that's not what he did.
That's exactly what I would say.
But that's not what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
No, it's not. That's exactly what he did not do.
It's exactly what he did.
What you just said was the high road.
I have no idea what hush money. I have no idea what hush money he's talking about in the. I don't even know how that.
I don't think that was against Trump. I think it was for. I think he was defending him.
I think it was for the team. That was a team. That was a team response. This is for the Democrat. It was against the Democrats. That's a rogue prosecutor. What do you want me to say? I have no idea what this is about. This is ridiculous. Next question. There is nothing wrong with that.
Tabitha's giving you the look.
Don't overanalyze it.
She's giving you the look.
I'm believing that it was a snarky, sarcastic comment that was said, well, I wouldn't know what it was like to pay hush money to a prostitute. I only know what it's like to give little children alcohol. I don't know. That's how I see it.
Man,
is there video of this so we can kind of get some inflection of
there?
Exactly. We need context. We need context.
There is, but the GOP's doomed.
It wasn't. What he said wasn't that big.
Anyway, let's just have fun.
The GOP sucks, so I hope they are.
Let's have fun for the next 16 months.
We can.
let's pretend like we were going to win this thing. It's kind of like the Jaguars could beat the Patriots.
We would win, Eric. You have to. When you go back and watch 2,000 Mules, we are the majority. We would win any election, hands down, in a landslide. Trump won the 2020 election in a landslide. If there hadn't been cheating, he would be in that office right now.
Every year at the 2-a-days, Vic, we thought we could beat Jeff City's football team, but we never could.
Of course.
Did they cheat?
It's the same thing.
Hey, by the way,
just bad?
Scotty, you could get that. Eric needs a laugh. So, Scott, can you get that video ready regarding banking, what banking is about? Because here's what's going on today. The president, Joe Biden, he was told he was the president this morning. That's right. He's maintaining confidence in the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell. Okay.
I hate to ask this, but what video?
The video I told you before the show that we would be running today regarding banking.
Oh, the Jerome Powell thing?
The Stooges.
Oh, God, yeah, okay. I didn't know that was what that was. Okay.
That's all right.
Gotcha.
First Citizens Bank shares still hanging on to hope. They're trying to strike a deal for all of the deal for the Silicon Valley Bank. They want it all. They're trying to go in and buy that debt, which gets changed into equity, by the way, Tabitha, which is what a bail-in. It wasn't a bailout. It was a
bailout.
It's a bail-in.
That's what they call it. It was a bailout.
It was a bail-in. There's a difference between a bail-in and a bailout.
No.
Tabitha.
That's just what they want.
Look, there's the SVB banking executives right there.
Yeah, exactly, Tabitha.
You're going to
Tabitha,
pay.
A bailout is when you have equity injection, where you put money into it. You know this.
Yeah.
It's already
a
been
bail
said,
in is you take the debt, you turn it into equity and you sell it.
I understand.
That is the difference between a bail-in and a bail-out.
That's why whenever I post about it, I put bail out in little quotes or little things, because it is still
because you don't accept
a
the truth.
bail out. No,
It's
because
not a bailout.
Ask any banking expert will tell you the people who are going to pay for what happened at SVB are all of the people who have accounts at little community banks. Trust me, it's a bailout because you are going to pay for it.
That's the type of the hassle.
You
ladies
are
and
going to
gentlemen.
pay
Don't
for
forget
it.
to tip your bartenders and waitresses. This is only Positive Tuesday. Only
Yeah.
Positive Tuesday.
Well,
we
here-
got to
Can't
spend
squeeze
everything.
money out of where it's not. Where it's
But
not.
Vic
You
is
will
right.
pay
This
for
is a
it.
good thing. This is.
It's not a good thing.
It's it is.
Screw
It's a
those
bail.
people at SVB.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, damn.
Hey, Eric, you needed a laugh. I think we all do.
Okay, here we go.
Here's the banking industry summed up, and this was sent to me in one clip from
Here we
the
go.
Stooges.
Worst break I ever had. They all owed me money.
Quiet, porcupine. And speaking of money, how about the $20 you owe me?
Oh, yeah? Well, I only got 10, so here's 10, I owe you 10.
Thanks.
Hey, Mo, you owe me 20.
Well, here's 10, I'll owe you 10.
You owe me 20.
Here's 10, I owe you 10.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you.
Here's the 10 I owe you. Good, now we're all even.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Thanks
about
for
it.
sending that to me, people. That that was sent to me twice. It's making its round on social media and the memes because, hey, there's American money, American banking right there.
All you can do is laugh at it, right? Because we sure can't fix it.
I used to watch the Three Stooges late on Saturday nights.
I used to as well.
You can't
right
watch
after
that.
Love Boat.
I love Love. I don't like the Three Stooges, but I love Love Boat.
Yeah, Love Boat was awesome back in the 80s.
We need to buy our own boat.
It
We'll
was a
call
much,
it the
it was
Cancel
a
This
much
Boat.
nicer time. What was his name? Steubing.
Because everybody was
Captain
just
Steubing and
happy and having fun.
And
and-
Julie, Julie was having fun. Isaac was making the drinks all nice. Didn't have to talk about politics.
They were all just a bunch of swingers.
They all knew that.
Tabitha.
They all knew that Reagan was taking
Swing it,
care of
baby.
the country. That no one was going to bomb the ship.
It was a better time. Hey, yesterday, President Putin got together. You know, the Americans, we're not the peacemakers in the world anymore, at least the perceived peacemaker. That's why I said the perceived peacemakers. Yeah, you had to correct me. China, they brokered peace that nobody in the world thought was possible between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Now they're trying to broker peace between Russia and Ukraine. You can't make this stuff up. People, it's happening before our eyes. Tabitha, I wanted your take on this because Donald, who grew up in communist China last week, was in studio saying China's not some great friend to Russia. Don't think that. And they won't be. He's like, they're still pissed.
Well, they want power.
That Russia took land that they still think is their land. Every nook and cranny of this world has a country thinking they're owed something.
But they will unite in their hatred against the United States.
So he said they're only worried about total power. So China now meeting, and China said yesterday they didn't come out publicly and say that they back Russia.
And they're not going to.
Z came out and said, well, we're kind of monitoring the situation from where we sit.
A quote that I read, and I can't recall where I read it, but it basically said that China believes that Russia and Ukraine will both run out of resources by the summer of 2023. But we know that's not true because we know that the West and NATO will continue to bolster the resources in Ukraine. We know that Putin will not lose. But when it comes to China, as we'll remind everybody once again, China is the C in BRICS. Russia is the R in BRICS. They are bound together against NATO. And that's where the alliance forms. And you know what? You're so right, Vic, in that China wants ultimate power. And I think Russia will allow them to take that power if they assist Russia in this war against NATO.
You know what total power means, Eric? And this is where I was getting into it while we talked
Buy
about
your
banking
yuan.
Your yuan. Eric, I'm starting to hear people talk about investing in yuan.
Don't even know what that is. Is that the guy from Welcome Back, Carter? Epstein?
I said that yesterday,
that's awesome.
I don't know what it is.
Yesterday we were talking about the ruble.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Hopefully I'm dead by then.
Well, a lot of countries are starting to trade now. You know, it used to be that if you wanted to trade, you had to trade in the US dollar. Well, that is no longer the case. People are trading in rubles and they're trading in the yuan. And it's a real problem.
Let me ask you a
It's
question.
gonna
Tab.
hurt our
Let me
dollar.
ask you a question.
Eric, that was awesome.
I'm sorry. We're talking about 70s.
That's
70 shows. Let me ask you a question, Tab. And I always come in
the
here.
yen, the yuan.
I always come in here and I kind of just am a spectator like the people on Facebook. I am. I'm a spectator. I'm the voice of the people.
We're having
Let me
fun,
ask you a
people.
question.
We're joking.
Let me ask you a question. Is there ever a day, and you can answer this truthfully, no one's listening to this show, don't worry about it. Is
I
there
always
ever a
answer
day
truthfully.
Is there ever a day when this country has pushed you too far and you're like, man, I'm out. I'm going to go to the South Pacific. There's no governments there. I'm taking my money. I'm just going to go and live out my days there. And then your patriotism of this country is gone. Is there ever that day? You ever look and you'll think fondly of the way that the country used to be?
The only way that I would leave this country, I am more the person who says stay and fight for your country. We're already here. We love our country. We love our American values. But if we don't start fighting for our American values and fighting for our country,
But think about this.
But Eric, there is nowhere else. There is nowhere else. There's nowhere else to go. We are literally the last refuge of what little freedom and peace we have
I
left.
love your
There
perspective.
is nowhere else.
I love your perspective.
We have to fight for what
But
we
think
already
about
have.
how fast this came on. This came on in 24 months.
Didn't come on fast. This was 8 years.
It's shown itself in the last 24 months. It's shown.
Well, to
itself.
people who weren't already aware, yes.
Right. And to me, it's
forgive
like,
Eric and I for being the dumb ones.
No, oh my gosh, that's not what I meant.
to me, it's like
Uninformed.
to me, you're like the pilot of this plane, and you've been flying it blind, and then the blinds come up, and you're like 14 feet from a mountain, and it's like too late to pull up. And that's what I keep wondering. I swear to God, Tabitha,
it's not too late.
That's what I keep wondering in my mind. Are we too far gone to pull
We're
up
not.
on the
No.
plane?
No,
And-
absolutely
go
not.
ahead.
Absolutely not. Because look at Trump.
This is awesome because yesterday you said we were too far gone to come back.
I didn't say that.
Okay, I misunderstood. I digress.
Within a Biden in a Democrat regime, we're going to go straight down the tubes.
Maybe
and
that's
there's no
what
recovery.
I was. Okay.
But look what happened when Trump was elected. Look what he changed in this country. Look how quickly things turned around. And I'll tell you what, in 2024, when Trump is elected again, things will once again turn around.
Maybe.
But they're going to fight. They're going to fight. And what we have to worry about is between now and then, what are they going to do to keep Trump
Are we
from
at
winning?
the part of Rocky where Rocky is depressed and the sad music's going on?
Which
and
Rocky? Which
Rocky
Rocky?
1,
There's a lot of Rockies.
where he's sad and depressed and he feels defeated and he's slurping on his little egg cocktail and he's like running and he can't quite get to the stairs. But by the end of the movie, we're running up the stairs and we're jumping around the statue. Is that what's going to happen?
I'm actually
I can't picture
envisioning
that.
Rocky 4, the best
Oh.
Rocky movie.
Oh, snap.
He's taken the fight with Drago.
Did you just say the best Rocky movie?
I think he's right.
The best
I
Rocky
actually
4?
think he's
Rocky
right.
4.
Oh, man, I don't
Which one do you
know.
like? Which one do you like?
Well, Rocky 1 is
I asked this question on Facebook about 8 years ago. What's the
And I'm
best
going to
Rocky?
tell you why Rocky 4 is number one
think
in
he's
my
right.
heart. And
Man, I don't know. 3 was pretty awesome.
Is that the
because
one with Mr. T?
yeah,
Yes, that was pretty awesome.
it's so bad. It's so bad.
2 was really good.
Yep.
And if you really watch it, 1 was phenomenal.
1's the best.
It was phenomenal.
But there's something to be
It's
said
really
about
hard to put a best on.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. The reason 4 is the best of the best. They're all good,
Here we
but
go.
the best of the best is the fact that you had different elements. And Tabitha, you're the movie person.
Yeah.
You had different elements.
Yeah.
And this is why I liked it.
Here
You
we
had
go.
the element of you've got Apollo and Rocky are now good friends. Apollo helped Rocky. So they've got this friendship. Rocky's got
Yes.
everything going on.
And then Apollo
great.
dies.
Then Apollo's like, hey, I'm going to take center stage. And Rocky's like, okay. Then he dies
He gets killed.
by a Russian.
He's
This is
killed.
1985 before the wall comes down. America, Russia. And then you've got this impossible man to beat.
Yes.
And a great figure that everybody likes to look. It's like, oh my God, this is impossible.
I would break you.
And then you have this man. Now Rocky
Go
has to
for it.
overcome his biggest test ever by far. And
What a breakdown.
and he didn't throw in the towel to save his friend
Yes.
because his friend said, don't do it. And he wanted Apollo to have that fame that he once had because Apollo helped him from the depths. And then he goes to
but
Russia
you just said it right
with
there.
nobody
Apollo
else
helped
to
him from the
train.
depths.
Right.
He was like
and
ready
he's
to quit.
and he's running up mountains in a different way to train.
Yeah.
And he's got KGB following him. Vladimir Putin's chasing after him in a car.
Oh, dude,
I think that was Ukraine.
And then he ends it.
It might have been, actually.
It might have been. Who knows?
And I can change. And you can change.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
We all can change.
It's tough. 5 was horrible. Like, they should have never made that.
No, the Creed.
That's my
I
breakdown.
couldn't
Come
stand
on.
Creed. All that.
Balboa was pretty good.
Once you get once you get into the offshoots of the original, I think you're like Hangover 3. Come on. Anyway, back to the story at hand.
Man, this is exciting.
I think Vic
Come
is
on
right.
now, let's go.
Sorry,
I think Vic is
not
right.
to get sidetracked. We need more
it was
movies
real
like
quick.
that.
Real
Rocky
quick,
on
you
crack.
brought up like within the last 24 months this has happened. So yesterday I was at my parents' house and I was cleaning some stuff up out of this room.
Yeah.
And there's a box of books that my dad had. And so my dad passed away in 2019, but this book was from like right when Obama was elected.
Okay.
And I'll have to bring it in. I almost brought it with me and I should have brought it. But it even talks about when he went into the presidency. The title of the book is like the start of socialism and how they're like the title at the bottom was explained. I'm going to bring it in because I can't remember it up.
Why did he buy that?
He saw it long before it happened, much like
Know Thy Enemy kind of thing.
Yeah. Like he was so
he bought a
against where
bootleg
things were
copy.
going.
Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
You say he bought a bootleg copy?
No, this was an actual book that was like a bestseller.
Oh, okay.
At the time. So I'll bring it in because I don't know the title of it and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I just thought it was very funny that it was a book that old talking about what we're talking about now starting back then.
Yeah. That was
it wasn't
we
just
had
24 months.
We had American movies to support America.
Oh, dude, you're killing me.
On world events.
You're right.
And the closest thing we've had because Hollywood has sucked ass until they realized Maverick, which brought back some
the
sort
thing about
of symbol.
What are we saying here? You know what? This is toxic masculinity. You just said Maverick, toxic masculinity. All the great movies from the 80s.
It's not toxic though.
Hold on.
I know.
According to them, it is. Not to me, it's not. I mean, look at John Wayne, toxic masculinity. Look at the Die Hard franchise, toxic masculinity. Look at everything, toxic masculinity. That's gone. And it's not toxic. But masculinity is a big part of us being human beings. Everything is being stripped from us that is good. Everything is being stripped from us. Now we have to go to the Oscars where we have these artsy fartsy.
Oh, you're going to get Tabitha going.
We have these artsy.
I can't talk about it.
With
So
the,
I
ma-
won't
with,
say it.
no, you can talk about male clothing.
Yeah.
Male clothing
To
at the
some degree.
Oscars and in the NFL.
I mean, I can't say too much because those people are people we work for.
But you ripped.
They pay me.
Wait a minute. You ripped an NFL player.
I don't work in sports.
Okay, but it's the same concept, as you know.
So anyway, we're destroying the fabric that has brought this country to bear. We were toxic masculinity in World War I and II when we went and beat the crap out of everybody that was coming against us. We knocked the crap out of them, and I'm not even talking.
The world has changed.
not just the men. But the women were masculine as well. They were rolling up their sleeves. They were building
Not
airplanes.
masculine, strong, maybe strong.
Masculine. When I say masculine, I'm saying that they rolled up their sleeves
Not
and they
manly.
beat the crap out of some
They were
iron.
hard workers.
Eric, I like to point, Tabitha, who is the masculine man on the world front when it comes to political leaders? Because Biden isn't. We know that.
No, unfortunately, masculinity is
Is
a
it
thing of the
Putin?
past.
No, masculinity's
many
dead.
areas.
And
Is
here's
it
the deal.
Putin? It's not Zelensky in heels. Is it?
If there,
Is it Z?
if it's a fight between Putin and Zelensky for masculinity, come on.
no,
All you got to do,
Putin
guys,
wins that
is
hands
look at
down. He rides
nature. All you got to do
horses
is
with
look
no
at
shirt.
nature. Nature has figured it out. If you have two bucks in the wild, the bigger of the two bucks is going to win, and they're going to get the girl. They're going to make the family, and they won the day. That's how it works. It's literally nature.
No, I saw a
It's
video.
natural.
I saw a smaller buck win, Eric. Well, I did.
Really?
He
must have hit the other buck in the nuts then, because they usually don't win.
I'm not even 100% sure what you were even talking about.
Well,
you
then
guys are
please,
talking about.
because us three know what we're talking
I
about.
know.
found Tabitha's
You guys
book.
have lost me.
Look at this
somewhere along
picture.
the line.
Revolt.
What's the picture?
Revolt.
Revolt.
Not revolt.
How to defeat Obama and repeal his socialist programs.
Did you write
A
that?
Patriot's Guide.
I
With
need
Dick
to write
Morris,
a book.
Dick Morris, Eileen McGann, and Tabitha Hassel.
I'm going to write a book.
Revolt. Exclamation point.
I think what we were talking about, Tab. What we were talking about, Tab, is
Yes.
Vic brought up like a rock star Rocky IV, and he did a complete breakdown of why that movie was so amazing.
But before
And
that, we
what
were
it-
talking about the destruction of our country.
Hold on.
And then we started talking about masculinity.
Well, that goes right in line.
But it does.
You want
because
to
it talks about how our military is
bring
weak.
transgendered studies into every public school. You are now knocking at the fabric of masculinity. Masculinity is a big piece of the ingredient of why we're successful in this country.
Well, masculinity, it is an important topic because I love our United States military. I absolutely love our military. I love our military members.
You do?
If they are a member of our military, they're a hero no matter what.
Really?
Absolutely.
Have you ever been to a transgender party at Elmendorf Air Force Base up in Alaska? Because they're bringing it to the Air Force.
That's okay because they're
Is
still heroes. They're still going to be on the front lines fighting for our country. But what concerns me and what concerns I think a lot of military members, older school military members, is that we as a species, or maybe as Americans, we're changing. Our bodies are changing. You know, when I was
we're changing. Our bodies are changing.
When I was in
the last 2 years,
when I was in high school, junior high, people looked older. Men were bigger.
It's the hormone issue.
It is the hormones. They're putting things in our food. They're putting things in our milk. They're putting things in everything that we consume, and it's a lot of hormones and antibiotics, and it's changing our body structure. And we don't have the big muscle bound people that we had a long time ago. There's a few. I'm not saying.
What are you talking about?
Few.
Tabitha, no.
Ask
Nature
women.
is done. No, nothing has
you
happened.
need to come hang out with me, and you'll see.
I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm not saying there aren't any. But these days, the majority of men are small and petite.
The demasculinity of this country has been brought on by
Steven Tyler.
Not Steven Tyler, but it has been brought on by the marketing of this millennial and Gen Z attitude. Gen Zers do not, if you're a guy in a Gen Zer, you do not want to be looked at as masculine because you lose.
Do you feel confident
lose.
in your military, Eric? If you were a military member.
Let's not talk about the military.
I am talking about the military.
I'm talking about the country.
I understand you are, but
there's a lot of stuff wrong with the military right now. They brought in CRT into the military.
I just want
they
you to
brought
answer
in
a
COVID vaccination. You're excluded if you've been vaccinated. They're bringing in transgendered whatever.
I get all that.
The government is paying for people to get sex change. I mean, no, that is not how you run the military.
Can I please just say something, please, for the love of God?
Well, don't ask non-rhetorical questions if you don't want a damn answer.
Well,
everything that you're talking about no, I'm agreeing with you. Everything that you're talking about right now all leads up to exactly what I was saying about our military. And my question,
you want masculine dudes, right?
My question to you, to all of you, is if you were in the military right now, if you were fighting on the front lines, would you feel confident that your fellow soldiers can protect you? Can they pick you up and carry you back behind enemy lines? Do you feel confident that the majority of our military will be able to fight in combat? Or has the everything that we've done to promote androgyny, to bring more women into combat, to lessen people's masculinity?
Is this a question? I don't know what your question is. I have no idea what you're asking.
I just asked you, do you feel confident that if you were a military member, that there's enough other military members who can physically support you, that they can carry you? No, I'm not confident in that.
Okay, why is it?
None of us know. We need to talk to military
I do
people.
talk to military people. That's what they tell me.
Why?
But I'm asking you guys as civilians.
And I'm going to tell you right now,
Yes.
I talked to one person who is a colonel who says, we're totally fine.
I hear that, but I hear the opposite.
I saw one of the best fighter pilots I've ever seen in my life at the last air show here. It was a lady. She was flying an F-35,
There are some
and she
wonderful
was
women
kicking ass
in combat.
I have no doubt that woman could just destroy the entire Chinese army after what I saw her do.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm talking about boots on the ground, somebody having to pick you up and carry you back to a safe place.
So have you changed this now, Tabitha, from a debate or question about size to just military?
We're talking about masculinity.
I'm not talking
military. Just in military.
Yeah,
I'm only talking about military.
Okay. All right.
Here's the deal.
Because
I
I'm
wasn't talking
very
about military.
curious.
Military is its own trials and tribulations.
Yeah, but we were talking about our country. We were talking about war. That's what this whole conversation is about.
I'm talking about men.
And then you guys
I'm
went off
talking
in a
about
different
men.
tangent.
You guys? What did I go off on a
what did
tangent
Vic do?
about?
Well, what you guys are a pair.
No, we're not.
Whatever
a
he
pair.
does.
What the hell does that mean?
No, you irresponsibly
Vic,
say
welcome
that
to the
a
club.
lot, and I've had questions.
Welcome to the club. You get
You
team
always
Eric.
you team me with Eric.
It's not such a bad place. Come on over,
Okay,
babe.
fine. I get
You
lumped
guys are a
in.
team.
Here's the deal. Masculinity is natural. It's as natural as anything else. It's as natural as puberty. It's as natural as, a woman being feminine.
But how does that relate to the war between?
I can't look.
NATO
The
and
texture
Brits?
when I say Ark is completely blown away whenever you interrupt me when I'm in my soft
I'm
voice.
sorry.
When I'm in my
sorry. Go
soft
to your
voice, you
soft
can't
voice
interrupt
again.
me.
You can start over.
Okay.
With your soft voice.
Here we go. This is why this will say a lot about why I'm so against this transgender garbage, is because we're going against nature. We're fighting against nature. Okay. Nature is you coming out of the womb as a man with the Y chromosome, the correct Y chromosome pattern, right? And you develop as a boy or a girl, and you learn the masculine traits, usually through the dad and usually through the mom. There is a whole natural thing that goes on with kids. When the parents leave the house, or the kids are presented with an iPhone or an iPad, or go out into the general population with their other friends who are looking at this transgendered LGBTQ world, and it looks like I used to might have looked at old rock albums. Maybe this has become a socialized thing, correct? Whenever you dismiss the mom and the dad from their lives, and you hand them off to a school that is furthering this transgender discussion, you are now doing damage to what is naturally supposed to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? As you get older, you might realize, man, that whole elementary school thing was crazy. I'm actually not a lesbian. I'm not gay. I don't want to be in the transgender world anymore. I would like to go be a financial expert or be something else. Maybe they do have the ability to change. So when I say toxic masculinity is a farce, it's a ruse, it's because they know that white men have built this country to where it is today. And so what they're trying to do is even the playing field, spread the butter out, and that is doing damage to this country. So everything I talk about on this show, I look at it from the perspective of, all right, you're going to do a lot of damage to a lot of people, but if that's what you want as a country, knock yourself out. As me, if it was my family, I wouldn't want that.
Okay, now relate that back to the military, because that's the conversation.
I really didn't even understand why I was getting into the military.
I was waiting.
Because that's what we were talking about. We're talking about Russia.
So here's the deal.
And Ukraine, and how our country is fought. I agree with every single thing you just said.
Let me spin it back to the military, okay? The military is the same way I look at local government filling potholes. You have a damn job. You need to do 100 pull-ups overhanded in your basic training. And I'm going to give you a weapon, and your entire existence for the next 4 years is to look at that guy as the enemy if you see him and you have the right protocol to take their asses out. No, you're not going to know transgender dance tonight. No, I'm sorry. There's no critical race theory being taught here. Your whole purpose is to be a war machine. Now, if you put okay, so that's Are
you done with your quiet
not toxic,
so we can talk about war?
Yeah, that's not toxic masculinity. That's just masculine, because Russia's got a masculine army. China's got a masculine army. Now we have better tech than they do. And so if you want to and I know a lot of women who are more masculine than any of us in this room. Masculinity is a mindset in the army.
I'm all for women in combat. I'm all for women doing whatever they choose to do. But I think we all have to admit, women being our bodies are not the same.
So we're agreeing.
They're just not the same.
High five. We just agreed on something.
Yeah, we're agreeing.
And quite honestly, if I am over in Ukraine, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be able to carry. I don't know if I could carry one of you back to safety. I really don't.
That's all you're worried about?
There's a lot of.
Is that all you're worried about with the female thing?
No,
I'm just wondering.
I don't even know how we got on this crazy
I don't even know where we are, and I was about ready to jump in.
I don't even know how we got on this crazy
I don't want to talk about the military anymore.
What we're talking about,
I have no idea.
And what we were talking about is how we will eventually, in China, it was in Russia. As a matter of fact, I think he's still there. He was supposed to be there from Monday till tomorrow. And they're having these talks, and they're talking about world power.
That's
talking about. But that's what the subject was.
No, you went to the military.
No, you went to the military. You started talking about masculinity and stuff.
Can I rewind the show?
I just wanted to talk
Scotty,
about.
Can I rewind the show?
I just wanted to talk about Rocky IV.
Me too. I was like, how did Rocky IV turn into this?
I don't know, but I don't know. We went off into
Masculinity has
different
nothing to do
tangents.
with the military.
Well, the
Nothing.
masculinity has everything to do with the military. And
No.
because if we're in a combat situation where you have, and we will be in a combat situation, it is going to happen.
Because we're going to World
We
War
will be
III
going to World
by 2025 in the next year and a half.
There
according
is
to
no
Tabitha.
question about it.
Boots on the ground, fighting wars, bullets, explosions, tanks.
I just want to.
It will happen.
I want to apologize
At our
to everybody.
borders.
I want to apologize.
Are they coming in through Florida first? They coming in through Canada? Where are they coming in?
Oh, you're talking about people. I don't know that we're going to have fighting in our own country.
No.
Let's hope and pray that that never happens.
No, the ISIS-K is totally available for hire right now. I don't know if you heard that one, but it's not about big military.
And Zelensky is.
First of all, one thing I know, I just learned, China, which has 350 warships, only has 2 aircraft carriers. They're small and they're diesel powered.
They have 3 million members of their military.
We have 11.
Eric, they're going to.
So they're not going to bring 2 diesel powered aircraft carriers to the United States. It's not going to happen. All right, and the other
we're not worried about that.
They're going to swim the Pacific.
They're going to swim the Pacific. Give them some fins, and they'll make it here.
Well,
now that is
Zelensky-
masculine. I will say that.
Zelensky, when he made his statement against Ron DeSantis, because Ron DeSantis came out and he made a statement against Ukraine and said, we have no interest in Ukraine.
Correct.
Why are we spending all this money?
No.
Why are we giving them billions of dollars and all of our military
I can
equipment
see
that
both
we need
sides.
right here?
I can see both sides.
And so Zelensky countered back, and his statement was really very powerful.
This is interesting.
It is interesting because, I'm not going to read his entire statement. You can find that online. But basically, he was pandering. That was a lot of his statement, pandering, saying, well, if you, and it was full of just complete misinformation. He said, basically, if you are against us, then how do you know what's going to happen next? If you stop funding us and you stop giving us weapons and you stop giving us money, Russia's going to invade Moldova. They're going to invade Belarus, which those things are never going to happen. And he said, what about them fighting right there in your own country? What happens when they fight there on your own land? He said, what happens when your son, your children of Americans are in Ukraine fighting on the front lines against Russia?
I hate to say it. Here's how I feel about Ukraine. We got way too many problems in this country right now. You are literally half a decade away from losing everything you ever
Exactly, which is why Ukraine shouldn't even be on the radar.
You are 5 years. If you give this guy who basically can't tie his shoes another 4 years, which it could totally happen, you're done. You can worry about Ukraine all you want. You can worry about Russia. You can worry about China. Those guys they don't have to put a diesel powered aircraft carrier off the coast of. They're done. You're done, because they're just going to come in here and they're going to buy up land in South Carolina, North Carolina. They're going to buy your financial industry. The yuan, is that what it's called, is going to dominate.
Well, China already owns us.
Then you're going to have the European Union take back Britain. It's all going to be a kumbaya fest, and you're going to be under an authoritarian world government. So there you go. So if you can't get it together, and that's why I'm always frustrated when I come in on this show. Don't worry about DeSantis and Trump. Let us figure it out. But man, if these guys keep attacking each other, Biden 2.0 is coming. It's coming.
Are you biting your lip or just listening?
I am, because we're switching topics again. Eric.
How is that switching? No, the topic is this. Ukraine, I don't give a damn. There's your topic.
Well, you have to care about what's going on.
No,
in
you
Ukraine.
have to care. I don't give a damn.
Because
I'm more worried about St. Louis and going to the baseball game and not getting shot.
How
about that?
That's a small
How about
thing
driving
to be
my
worried about.
BMW down on Highway 70 and not having the suspension fall off? How about that?
And what about your entire? What about your entire country? The reason why we got
entire country.
The reason why we got started on this entire discussion is you asked me if I ever felt like I'm just so fed up with this country that I want to leave, that I want to go somewhere. That's how we started out with this whole discussion. And Eric, we have to stay here and we have to fight for our country. And part of fighting for our country is not giving more money to countries where we have no interest in. We have no interest in Ukraine. Now, the people, unfortunately, who run our shadow government, who run the puppet masters, those people do have an interest in Ukraine, because all of these wealthy, super elite people in this country became wealthy because they're over there laundering money in Ukraine. So do you want your son to go to war in Ukraine?
I don't want to use
over
cancel this as podcast to take one more minute of Ukrainian bullcrap. The story is China and Russia
then maybe
cozying
you
up
shouldn't
together.
be here. Go back to Starbucks.
It's
maybe
all,
I will. Maybe I'll do my Starbucks segment
It's
when you guys
all
are talking
together.
about Ukraine.
No, it's all together, and that's the problem.
I think
that
the
we have.
story is that Xi Jinping is in an office with Putin right now, and they're not talking about Ukraine. They're not talking about
I can assure you they are talking about Ukraine.
That was subject number one.
They have a
I can assure
3-day
you they
summit
are.
there. They have a 3-day summit there. The question is, are you going to give us a few missiles? And Xi Jinping's going to go, yeah, well, in the cover of darkness, watch your FedEx. But here's the
You're so wrong.
But here's the other deal. Here's the deal. They're talking about how dude, you nailed it. Take credit. They're talking about BRICS. They're talking about world.
Absolutely,
they're
are.
talking about world economy.
And that should be something we're all talking about.
They're talking
Eric,
about
our
world
problem all the
economy.
time.
They're talking about world economy. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about Ukraine.
That is Ukraine, Goofy.
Eric, the president,
That is
and some
Ukraine.
would consider the unelected president and his administration continue to send our money, our American money, to Ukraine.
They're talking.
That's why it's a massive.
There's a damn good chance that 30 minutes of their conversations is about both countries have something on Joe Biden. They know that he's a puppet.
That's another.
There might be
all
30 minutes of each of
know
them
he's a
presenting their
puppet.
documents.
They all
got
know
to
he's a
see-
puppet.
We've got to see him tie his shoe.
No, we don't know crap, Tabitha. We will know crap whenever it comes out, and that's why the committees in the House
Eric,
are so important.
I will tell you exactly what's going on right now between
Do you have
Russia
proof of what
and
you're about to
China. I think proof enough. There is no doubt that Z is over there talking to Putin, and they are coming up with a battle plan. And you know what that battle plan is? It's against us. It's against the United States, and
money.
it's against Europe. That's exactly right. And I will bet you anything, Russia will tell Z, hey, we are fighting with everything we have. We are exhausted with our troops. We're exhausted with our military equipment. If you give us XXX, then guess what? We will all fight together against the Americans, against the European, against NATO.
There's no fighting. First of all, think about this for a second.
Financial fighting is what I call
Tabitha,
it.
think about
There
this.
will be
Hold on.
fighting.
Think about this for just a second. Marxism and Chairman Mao come from the same womb. They're the same. They just changed over the years. China went to the capitalist side, and Russia went to the pseudo-capitalist side, blusted up their entire country, and now they're trying to bring it back.
None of us are saying
Okay.
it's not about money,
So-
but it is about Taiwan. We know China wants Taiwan, and we know we're sending U.S. troops right now to Taiwan. We just sent 300 U.S. troops to Taiwan last month. We know what's going to happen is we know that this is going to be a BRICS against NATO. As a matter of fact, Zelensky mentioned that in his speech, that if you Americans stop funding us over in Ukraine, guess what's going to happen next? It's going to be BRICS versus NATO. He said that.
And our
because it's going to
administration
happen.
knows this.
And our administration knows this. And they're just distracting us with all this other stuff. But they know we're going to be at war soon. We know that China is
Not
going to go
war.
and take it is
Not
going to be
war.
World War III. No question about it.
They've built up too much stuff
They
to
don't
have
care
a
about
World
that.
War III.
Don't be naive. Don't be
No, but
don't be
Tabitha's-
naive.
Eric,
Don't be naive.
Eric, when she's saying war, it's not how you and I.
Okay, good.
Tabitha's like, well,
Tabitha.
Tabitha says we're already in World War III. So
I'm
that's
not talking about people on our soil fighting us, although I don't think we should be so naive to think that can't happen. But I do actually mean like a legitimate war that we are going to have American troops and NATO troops
in what country
fighting
Yeah,
Russia
where's
in
it?
what country?
Ukraine, and maybe in
Really?
Taiwan. Absolutely.
Ukraine and Taiwan.
If China tries to take back Taiwan, our troops will fight.
But
This is all prognostication stuff. I feel like I'm at the casino right now and I'm playing Keno. It's basically you're trying to guess on the
It's
on the,
not
on the
guessing.
little thing.
Every single thing that we see, statements by
I feel like I'm at
various
the Pepper Mill
leaders
in Reno, Nevada.
are telling us that this is going to happen.
It's fun talk. It is fun talk. I mean, we can sit here and talk about who's going to win the World Series.
all it takes. Here's the thing. We've got like three things that could ignite a world war. Obviously, Taiwan, Ukraine, the crash of the dollar. We know that war builds money.
That's exactly what it comes down to, Vic. You just said the magic words.
And we also know, and I'm sorry for my Democrat friends, if you actually think Joe Biden has an iota of what's going on, any itty bitty clue I'm sorry. We'll have to agree to disagree in the worst sense because he doesn't. He's clueless. The man is clueless. You know it. I know it. The real Biden has no idea what's going on. Yeah. We're asleep at the wheel. Nobody's steering the ship. Whatever comparison you want to make, we're floating adrift. Other countries are dictating everything that we're doing.
Yes.
And
you're right.
They're steering our ship. We're in a bad situation.
Very bad.
That's why I think we are dire. I don't see how we come back. The only way we come back
is war.
Ever see the
is Donald Trump goes in and goes, you know what? F all y'all. Yeah. We're going back to what we were doing, which will severely turn the tide of everything else from a world standpoint. And it still may be too late. And God knows what could happen.
Did you ever watch the show Star Trek?
Yes.
Did you?
No.
You never watched Star Trek?
I watched Star Trek.
So Star Trek, they'd be on an adventure, and all of a sudden a Romulan ship would come and blow up their engine or whatever. And then they would just be floating in space. But the Romulans had their guns trained on them. And eventually Kirk or Picard or one of the two would come up with a brilliant idea to fire back. And that's what the country is doing right now. We are begging engineering to get the engine running again as we're watching everything happen. If Biden does get elected president again, the engine's they're gonna basically throw the engine into
We
space.
can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. But it may not matter because we're probably going to be a war.
It's so complicated what you just said, because I don't think you're going to win an election if you can't get it together. I think you have to come into this show,
the election
and
won't
not
be
just
won
this show,
by getting it together.
What?
That's not how an election will be won this time.
No, it is exactly that.
Getting it together doesn't matter. When they cheat, it doesn't matter.
The Democrats are together. They are literally army ants, and I've said that before.
Doesn't matter.
If you guys think you can go in this and debate your way into electing GOP candidates, man, I wish that guy.
Because of what? Because
Eric,
I can't trust any election. But here's with mail-in balloting. But then Democrats come back and say, well, what about the places where mail-in balloting goes where Republicans win? And there's no way to.
Well, then you got to put stock in the elections.
There really isn't, and that's a good point that Democrats make as well.
Yeah,
Eric,
but I don't trust the national vote when it comes to mail-in balloting.
That's exactly right, Vic. And see, Eric, that's why even if Republicans all got it together, even if every person who voted Republican all had it together, and we all said we're all going to vote for one, if they're cheating, none of that matters. But I think we're going to be in a war before the election.
Stop saying that. You're manifesting.
I'm not manifesting it. I'm telling you what.
A war before 2024.
And we don't have to get back into that topic.
That's what's in store.
But I'm just saying that if and when we are in a war, before, I would think for sure. If we are in a war, you have to remember then Biden can state his emergency powers and he can remain president without an election in 2024.
Yes. Eric, are you processing that?
I don't know. I always freak out by some of the comments on Facebook. I guess I shouldn't. It's my opinion. I just think
you have every right to your opinion.
We've been in wars, quote unquote, forever, and
we always will be.
And the geopolitical spectrum of firing a weapon at another superpower is just not going to happen.
It is going to happen because you know why, Eric? Because that's how countries make money.
Help, Vic.
I'm trying.
Help.
I'm trying to put this.
I'm literally on the cliff.
That's how countries make money. Money.
Can you grab my hand?
Eric, I'm hanging on the cliff with you, and you've got a hold of my feet.
We're in trouble. Put a parachute on.
But I'm feeling strong right now.
How do countries bail themselves out?
Yeah.
Because
we're 31 trillion in debt.
Because I've got my hand out to Tabitha. Tabitha's got her whole body. She's holding on to me too.
Yeah.
And you're holding on to me.
Yes.
And I'm in the middle. And I'm getting stretched out.
Mm-hmm. I listen.
War is where you make money. It's where you make the most money.
She's right, but you can do it on proxy wars. You can do it off of what.
Well,
they're
we're
doing
in a proxy
Ukraine.
war right
now. You can do it with you're doing it with Ukraine. There's all kinds of ways you can be in a war. You don't.
This
have to
will be a real war.
No, it won't.
Yeah, it will.
They're not.
That's
that
where
stupid.
I lose, Tabitha.
They're not that
that's okay.
stupid.
We don't have to agree.
Yeah.
It's not about being that stupid. It's about that's how wars are fought, and that's not going to change. And the country does not make money by
The
hitting them with a
calculus
laser
is
beam.
if you launch a
They
Scud
make-
missile at China,
You're missing the whole point.
China, you're basically going to throw a match into a bunch of hay, and it will not end well for anybody, and everybody knows.
I'm not talking about nuclear war. I'm talking about
Well,
boots
that's
on
how
the
nuclear
ground.
wars
There's a
begin.
reason why we have hundreds of troops in hundreds of tanks in Poland.
World War II
Hundreds
was
of tanks.
ended by a nuclear bomb, and it had a lot of conventional weaponry.
I agree, and I don't expect that to happen. But I am telling you right now, there are hundreds of tanks, United States, American tanks in Poland right now, and those are not tanks going to Ukraine. Those are tanks for American troops, and they are sitting right now on the border in Poland. And we're building up our military arsenal there all the time. Our country only makes money by war if we use equipment on the ground, if we use weapons on the ground. Otherwise, we don't make any
Man,
money.
you sure get worked up about all that.
I'm not worked up at
You
all
do.
because
No, you do.
I'm not at all worked up.
Yeah, because I don't see it that way. I don't see
And
the
that's
world as
okay.
being
That's your
that
opinion.
stupid. I think that they're everyone is geopolitically trying to jockey into position. That's all they're doing. Russia knows that they're probably going to get a strait that takes them from Russia to the sea. That's really what they want.
They already have it.
Okay, and they'll give Ukrainian sovereignty over their space. Maybe they'll negotiate something. Everybody will sing.
Nobody's going to
everybody-
negotiate. That's why we're going to have a war.
What is your basis for saying that?
But when
Because they both have said, Putin just said yesterday.
didn't.
Yes, he did. Putin just made a statement yesterday who said the last time we had a negotiation with Ukraine was in 2022, I think he said, March of 2022. So he said there are no more negotiations that are going to take place. Negotiations are over. And that means
Of course, that's what you would
one side
say.
has to concede, and neither side are going to concede.
Well, that's not what China said yesterday, though.
China is doing their best to broker peace.
China's the big brother in that relationship.
Yes, they are.
Okay. So anything China says, if China says, yeah, we'll give you some weaponry to take out this, but I'll tell you what, if you don't figure out how to fix this, because China doesn't want to be looked as a monster coming in when they have their own objectives. If they get involved
we are not fighting in Ukraine.
They
with
don't
American
want Xi
troops
Jinping.
anytime soon, Tabitha. And I'm going to tell you why. And I know you're laughing at me.
No, I'm not laughing at you. That's
Here's
just
why.
your opinion.
Here's why I believe, then I'll say that there's no way in hell we're going to be fighting with American troops over there, because every liberal, every Democrat is against fighting anywhere.
No, they're not.
Let me finish. That's exactly what they say in public. That's exactly what they run on. They're exactly against war of any kind. They claim Republicans and conservatives are all about war. They claim even though Donald Trump kept peace, they claim that's what he would bring. Tabitha, there is no way any government in the United States could sell war in Ukraine, or else every single liberal Democrat I've ever met in this country is a fake, a liar, a phony, and uneducated. And then they would have to say, yeah, we're for war and sending our kids to Ukraine. There's no way.
There are a lot of Americans
no
saying
Democrats
that,
would ever be. Who are they? Who are
there
they?
are a lot of just who are the ones that are saying that it isn't. You tell me who they are.
No,
because I hear a lot of
Tabitha,
people saying we are going to war.
No,
you name them. You name them. You keep asking me to name. You name them
because you say things and you don't have.
And so, and neither do you. You don't have any proof
Tabitha,
either.
I
You're
asked
sitting
you.
here telling me
You said
that people are saying that, and then you're
Tabitha,
telling me I need names.
Tabitha, you first said I hear a lot of people.
I do hear a lot of people.
Okay,
say it.
time out. So here we go. You said that. So
I
then
love-
my
I love
response
Tab.
is, who said it?
And I'm asking you, who said it's not? You just gave a whole
you not
long
understand?
spiel about
Tabitha.
how you said Americans.
I don't hear any, and I want to know who's
You
saying
keep
it.
telling me I can't interrupt you. Why do you keep interrupting me?
No, Tabitha,
I'm
who?
trying to explain what my point is. My point is that there are a lot of people out there flying Ukrainian flags on their house, crying and freaking out because we're killing innocent Ukrainians.
Who's the politician saying?
And there are
who are the politicians that you said are saying we need?
Lindsey
to be-
Graham. Lindsey Graham
You
has said many times.
Democrat. You said there's Democrats. Who are
There
saying-
are Democrats and Republicans
No,
saying
who is
we
the-
need to go.
tell
to
me
war.
one Democrat
You
is-
tell me one who's saying we're not.
Oh my God, Eric. I Tabitha, you brought this whole.
You brought it up.
You said Democrats.
I
are
said
doing
people.
this.
I said people are. I said
Then correct me. Tell me
I just did. Lindsey Graham is one of the most outspoken people.
Democrats.
This is nothing, Vic.
Who are the Democrats? Because my whole point was about Democrats.
Your whole point was about Republicans and Democrats. Go back and listen to what you said.
My point was Democrats.
Okay, can we just? This is ridiculous. What we're saying right now.
Who is the Democrat that said that we should be fighting troops on the ground in Ukraine? I want to be educated. Help me.
Well, why don't you educate me first? Because you're
Tabitha,
the one who said it
I
first.
said that I haven't heard any. So correct me.
I don't. You're just trying to as
I'm
you
not.
always do every freaking day.
I'm trying to find out.
to discredit everything I'm
No,
saying.
not at all.
And people are tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Hold on.
And I'm going to tell you. Let's go.
Who is the Democrat that said we should be
backtrack
fighting?
before I leave. Let's just backtrack.
Who's the Democrat?
Let's backtrack. You made a statement, and in your statement, you said
correct
that there will not be war.
Correct.
Because people, you said Republicans and Democrats. Said that they don't want war and that we won't go and fight. I'm asking
Democrats.
you.
My point
No, you
is
said Republicans and Democrats.
Tabitha, if you didn't listen to me, I'm telling
Who's
you
the Democrat?
Focus on Democrats.
Okay, then who is the Democrat who told you that they do not want to go to war?
Who's
What do you
the
mean?
Democrat?
No, they haven't
you said Democrat.
All
Who's the
Democrats.
Democrat?
That's in their DNA.
Drew's even saying, Tabitha, you're wrong. Democrats
I don't
want
care what
war.
Drew says. He's always wrong.
Tabitha, I just want to know, who are the Democrats you said you heard say?
I never said I heard I'm saying people
Okay.
as a whole.
Now you're
and
saying
then you
people.
said who? And you're saying people as a
Politicians.
whole.
Politicians.
And I'm telling
no,
you,
I'm not
Lindsay.
saying. I said Democrats.
Okay, which Democrat then?
I don't hear any
confused.
Democrats.
Hold on, let
saying
me
that they
take
wanna
over
go
for
to
just
war.
a second. Let me take over just a second. So hold on. So the word warmonger came from the Democrats back in the Bush era. It did it not? Yes, it did. A lot of Republicans thought we should be going right into Iraq and taking out Saddam Hussein, which we did. But the Nancy Pelosi, hold on, don't speak. But the Nancy Pelosi's of the world basically said warmongers. And then everybody else kind of chimed in like a big chorus of, in your favorite Catholic church. And that's kind of what we've known from Democrats over the years is they just didn't want to pull the trigger and kill innocents. Okay, cool. Fast forward. Now AOC is in the public, and the Gen Zers are going, why are you voting for this Ukrainian mess? So the Gen Zers out there are pissed off at AOC, which is a Democrat, and they're also looking at Tlaib, and they're saying, why are you voting for this mess? And they cannot answer.
Okay,
that is Democratic. That is Democratic support for this Ukrainian mess, which you're talking about.
What
so
I am
this
trying
isn't
to
typical.
explain is that there are Americans on both sides of the fence. Am I going to name them? No, I'd have to go home and look them up. There are Americans
but hold on.
both sides of the fence.
In fairness,
You guys
hold
always,
on. Hold on. In fairness,
why do I have
remember
to hold
last
on? You're
week-
interrupting me.
In fairness, last week that's where I said
I would just like to make one statement without people interrupting
hold on.
me.
Last week that's why I said maybe it's time for this show to present sources so that we don't sound like we're just opinionating, because I can say all day long.
This is
I've heard
opinion
from a bunch
radio,
of people.
Eric. It is opinion radio.
Okay.
That's what we do.
But sources are cool too.
And sources are great. And I just gave one. Lindsey Graham has come out many times and said, we need to get over there right now.
He's a Republican.
And we need to fight.
As Bendy said, Vic said Democrats, not Republicans.
Yeah.
You said
all I wanted to know is one Democrat or any Democrat
I'm an
that
idiot.
are public
Look,
that are
you're not an idiot.
Here's the deal. I'm a moron on this show. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I do want to know what the sources are. That's why I do not think that I'm an expert on this.
Then what?
So when
every
you say
time,
something, I want the source. That's it.
Don't be freaking ridiculous.
Why?
That's not ridiculous.
You and I just talked off the show, and you said no, we will never have a show where everybody has to tell their sources because that's boring and stupid.
No,
So
we
don't
need
even say
sources.
that.
No. At certain times we need sources. We do.
That's how CNN got in trouble. It's how MSNBC got in trouble. Is they don't have sources, and then they basically
Then from now on,
misinformation.
from now on, I want to hear us. We're always on the same team.
It's all right.
So tomorrow, everything you say, I want you to back it up with sources, and I will too. Everything you say, I want you to back it up with sources.
I'll try
every last thing,
but I don't.
All of it.
But
I want you to say. I want you to back it up. With
I never claim I have sources. I always look at historical.
Oh wait! Stop.
No,
No.
I just brought up. Hold on. No, my source.
You just said everybody has to
Hold
have
on.
sources.
By the way, this is the longest we've ever
All right,
gone.
it's fine.
This is awesome.
Hold on. I just brought up a source. I gave you an example of what Democrats thought in the past, and now I gave you an example of how Democrats are supporting war. I told you how they didn't support war, and then I showed you how
source? No, that's you being
the news.
Source. Which news?
AOC voted for funding
where did you hear
Ukraine.
that? Was it on Fox? Was it on
No,
Newsmax?
the voting record in the House.
Where's your source? I need to see a link right now.
Eric. She's
penalty.
She's messing with.
I'm throwing the flag.
Go ahead.
Be nice. I'm just kidding.
No.
And Scott
this has been great. I'm sorry.
It has not been great because I've learned nothing and I'm stupider now.
And for people who
I'm
don't
going to say
know,
something.
We're all
and
dumber for now. We've just heard.
This may aggravate Vic, but Vic, you did say every Democratic friend or person that you talk to says that they do not want a war. You said that.
Yeah, Democrats. Yeah.
Okay, but
you're missing the point. The politicians is the specific point. Democrat politicians.
Do you know Democratic politicians have said that? Okay.
No.
That's where I misunderstood you then, because
I need to know who Democrats are that are saying that they want physical troops on the ground.
Exactly.
No, they just want to launder money, but that's a whole nother
money,
show.
That's a whole nother issue. Giving money is what the Democrats are doing, which is why I said Ukraine is not of our interest.
Can I please point something out?
I'm still waiting for I want to know who the Democratic politicians are that say we need to go to war in Ukraine.
Scotty is saying I'm right, and he's the best producer ever.
He's not saying.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to relay what I was hearing because I kind of got confused too.
Scott also is the same guy that didn't even know what videos we needed to run today because he was.
Well, you didn't say Three Stooges. You said and I wasn't trying to. I'm not trying to stir anything. I was trying to get what you said because I thought that's what you had said.
We still
and I lost that
because I was right.
Democrat politicians. In your mind, that Democrat politicians are not saying they want war.
I'm going to go home and find one.
I want.
That's my homework.
Yeah, we would. I would like to see that.
I never said you're wrong. I'm asking you to prove that you're right.
Yes,
that's all I'm doing. I've never said you're wrong.
We all have homework tonight.
I just want you to know that I love you all.
Yeah,
and that was awesome.
Eric is going to go home and find a source for every single word that comes out of his mouth tomorrow.
Let me recap just a second. This started when he said Drago, the Rocky IV was the best. And then I thought of toxic masculinity, how it's breaking down the country. Then Tabitha brought in the military and then the military drug in Ukraine. And then Ukraine brought in.
And then Steven Tyler started singing and everyone got feminine. We all did our hair.
So that's how all of this stuff ties together. So never bring up Rocky again, ever.
With a good debate. We're just trying to educate ourselves. But when we educate ourselves so that we can learn and actually believe, every now and then we do need a source. And every now and then we do need to know who are the people saying the things.
That's right. Who are they, Vic?
Who are the people that are saying things so we know, okay, this is credible. Because we're human and we'll make mistakes.
Sources are not a bad thing, Tabitha.
I can't wait to hear all your sources tomorrow. I don't want to hear you utter one word without a source.
I would be bringing up TikTok a lot because that's where I get all my information.
And that's fine.
I heard it on TikTok.
And that's fine.
And alcohol. I get.
So if I start making videos on TikTok, I can be your source.
Yeah, then I'll
always
you.
be right.
Tabitha Hassel said, "Wait a minute, that's you." Go ahead.
This is canceltheshow.com.
I apologize.
With Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel, I'm Vic Faust. Guys, we appreciate you joining. We appreciate you listening every day. Once again, you can catch all of our original content, canceltheshow.com. Please share the show. Spread the word about what we are doing. Of course, check out our partners page if you need to buy anything. And our advertisers, our partners have something you need. Check them out. And if you do go with them, let them know you heard about them from canceltheshow.com. All right, let's have an awesome day. Donald Trump not being arrested. I repeat, not being arrested today.
Not today, not tomorrow, not next week. It's over.
We'll catch you for our next edition of cancelthisshow.com. Have a great day.